Chapter 241. By the time Yiqing Luo returned to Dmo Xian's side, the beasts had dispersed. The remaining 30 mercenaries, under the command of the group leader, sat on the ground to rest. Yiqing Qian and Leng Fenghua stood by the side, arguing about something. When Yiqing Luo returned, everyone's gazes towards her were filled with reverence. That leopard beast. Could it be the high-level mirage beast just now? I heard that mirage beasts can transform their body shape, that seems to be it. Everyone looked over at the source of the commotion. They saw a leopard beast, leading a small leopard, head to head, following behind Yiqing Luo. Just now Yiqing Luo left with 3 high-level mirage beasts, and now she came back with 2 leopard beasts, one big and one small. Everyone naturally guessed that these 2 leopard beasts were the high-level mirage beasts just now. Yiqing Luo ignored this group of mercenaries. Her line of sight met with the man in white on the treetop. He leaned against the treetop and supported his head with one hand, his long black hair cascading down like smoke, his long narrow eyes slightly squinted, reflecting a demonic arc. That loose white robe made him look even more distinguished and lazy. Yiqing Luo's eyes rippled with a smile, turned her head to look at the mother and son pair, who were still dating, and moved her feet, leaving space for the mother and son. Presumably, the mother beast had a lot of words to say to its little Luo. Yiqing Luo had just moved under the tree, her waist suddenly tightened, a scorching hot chest had already covered her delicate back. The man's warm breath, directly sprayed on her neck. What's the result? I contracted that little mirage beast. Yiqing Luo was not used to it as she shrank her neck. Oh. Dmo Xian raised his brows slightly. Little Luo, this trip, you've earned a lot, your luck is not bad. Indeed, it was a profit. She followed Dmo Xian to the magic beast forest. The purpose was to find an opportunity to break through the mystic profound realm. Now she not only broke through, but also advanced to Mystic Profound 4th grade. What's more, she picked up a lot of magic cores and 1 or 2 magic crystals. Now she had contracted a leopard beast that could grow. I signed a peace contract with it. Yiqing Luo took a look at the little mirage beast that was still snuggling up to the mother beast. Her charming eyes were tinged with a trace of warmth. The contract is because I want to help it. Yiqing Luo succinctly told him what the mirage beast had told her. Shiju, that little phantom beast, was not a pure leopard beast. More accurately, it only had half of the bloodline of a leopard. This was the reason why it was abandoned by the other leopards. And the reason why Shiju could live safely until now was because its mother, that high-level mirage beast, was the king of the 5th level. However, even such an identity could not hide the fact that Shiju was not a pure leopard. When the mother beast wasn't around, it was spurned, mocked, and ridiculed by its fellow beasts. No leopard was willing to play with it. Apart from his mother, all of his relatives despised him. In particular, all of his relatives had been promoted to high-level phantom beasts. Only it was a low-level phantom beast. The Void Mother felt that it would be detrimental to Shiju's growth if it continued to stay by its side. Although Shiju had lived for hundreds of years, but in the Beast clan, it was equivalent to a 6 or 7-year-old child. When it longed for the love of its fellow beasts, the mockery from those beasts would form a scar, leaving a scar in Shiju's heart. Especially, something like today had happened. Chapter 242. The Void Mother realized that if this were to continue, the son she wanted to protect with all her heart might not be able to grow up normally. Because of this, when the mother beast saw Yiqing Luo, it endured its unwillingness to let Shiju and Yiqing Luo form a contract. Because Lord Holy Beast had said something. Because a human that the Lord Saint Beast had acknowledged would definitely be able to train its son. Because the beast race was the most sensitive to the changes in human emotions and hearts. It could tell that although Yiqing Luo looked cold and emotionless on the surface, but her heart was actually very kind. Finally, it hoped that I could bring Shiju to Shiju's father. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes drooped, but regarding Shiju's father's matter, it's not willing to say a single word more. Dmo Xian held her waist tightly as he laughed softly. Shiju only has half leopard beast bloodline, which means that Shiju's father is not a leopard beast. The fact that this mother beast gave birth to Shiju in the magical beast forest alone means that something happened between it and Shiju's father. As soon as he finished speaking, he wrapped his arms even tighter around her. That elegant sandalwood scent lingered in Yiqing Luo's heart bit by bit. It doesn't want to talk about it because it doesn't want to talk about its past. Since it asked you to find Shiju's father, it must be because of Shiju's father. If he sees Shiju, he will definitely be able to recognize Shiju. Yiqing Luo nodded her head slightly. She had no choice but to admit that Dmo Xian's words of consolation had struck the spot in her heart. She raised her eyes and looked at the leopard and leopard cubs who were still rubbing against each other. Her clear eyes were filled with warmth. Actually, my Lil Luo's nature is still kind. Dmo Xian's slender fingers caressed Yiqing Luo's cheek. His slender and fair fingers had distinct joints and were extremely beautiful. Kindness. No matter if it was her previous life or this life, she would always be called heartless, bloodthirsty, demoness, and other similar comments. This was the first time someone had used this term on her. It was really unfamiliar. She was kind, but not to people. The sincere feelings of these two leopards were worthy of her kindness. Many times, beasts were more worthy of respect than humans. Humans could sacrifice their children for their own benefit. But beasts would not. Beasts would only place their closest kin in the most important position. Yiqing Luo stared at the two mirage beasts and did not notice that Dmo Xian had changed the way he addressed her. He had also neglected that she had admitted that she was Dmo Xian's little Luo, Yiqing Luo. Suddenly, Yiqing Qian's sharp voice was heard, "You fickle woman. How dare you hug another man in front of His Highness? If this matter reaches the ears of the old ancestor, you will suffer." From afar, Yiqing Luo could see the intense jealousy in Yiqing Qian's eyes. To Yiqing Qian, Yiqing Luo's disregard towards her was the greatest humiliation. That kneel was an indelible humiliation for Yiqing Qian in this lifetime. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and pushed the hand on her waist. This time round, Dmo Xian didn't take the opportunity to take advantage of Yiqing Luo as he obediently let go of his hand. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a smile as her eyes were filled with a deep cold intent. If I didn't remember wrongly, as early as 3 months ago, Ling Fenghua had personally said that he wanted to request for a decree from the monarch to cancel our engagement. Chapter 243. 3 months ago. It just so happened that Ling Fenghua and Yiqing Qian were in their passionate love period. Ling Fenghua's face suddenly sunk as his gloomy eyes stared at Yiqing Qian. As though he was blaming Yiqing Qian for telling Yiqing Luo their private conversation. Yiqing Qian instantly felt extremely aggrieved. For Ling Fenghua, she even knelt down to Yiqing Luo, giving Yiqing Luo a chance to humiliate her. Ling Fenghua did not know how to be grateful, and even spoke coldly to her. The more Yiqing Qian thought about it, the more indignant she felt. But she didn't dare to flare up at Ling Fenghua, so she could only clench her teeth and suppress her anger, thinking of ways to shut Yiqing Luo's mouth. Seventh sister, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. 3 months ago, His Highness often visited the Three Springs sect residence. When did he mention anything about breaking off the engagement with you? Since ancient times, there has been no reason for a woman to divorce her husband. You were just blinded by another man today. When she said other men, she specially took a glance at Dmo Xian. Her eyes were filled with disdain and ridicule. Only Yiqing Luo would take a fancy to such an ordinary man. I say, Big sister, you can't have forgotten 3 months ago, you and Ling Fenghua were under the big tree in the garden. Yiqing Luo's voice paused as her charming eyes revealed a crafty smile. That tenderness between the both of you is really like a pair of lovers. Even I, who is tens of miles away, can hear that voice, which makes one's ears turn red. Yiqing Qian was embarrassed and indignant, her face turned green and white as she trembled with anger. She wanted to teach Yiqing Luo a lesson, but she had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so stifled that she couldn't even say a single word. Yiqing Luo couldn't be bothered with her as she walked straight towards the mercenary group. The ground was littered with the corpses of wild beasts, and the smell of blood was extremely heavy. Yiqing Luo swept a glance at those corpses and immediately spread out her hands towards the group leader, magic cores and magic crystals. This impolite tone made the group leader stunned for a moment as he was unable to understand the meaning behind Yiqing Luo's words. Seeing his blank look, Yiqing Luo patiently explained, "Give me all the magic cores and magic crystals collected from the beast horde." Hiss, the mercenaries who were resting on the ground sucked in a cold breath. She had never seen someone so domineering and arrogant, so righteous. The guild leader's face also showed a bit of embarrassment. Although it was all thanks to Yiqing Luo that they were able to escape from danger in this beast tide. But after all, they had suffered heavy losses this time. They might not even be able to earn their employer's share of the money. Yiqing Luo had already led her little kitten to search for most of the magic cores. Moreover, she had also picked up a mana crystal. She had made a huge profit. Logically speaking, he shouldn't pursue the matter of the remaining monster cores with them. Speaking of magic cores, I haven't asked you yet. Yiqing Qian's hands under her sleeves clasped together tightly. This mercenary group is hired by Your Highness. Whatever they get from their hard work should belong to Your Highness. Contribute. Yiqing Luo curled her lips into a smile which didn't look like a smile. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the group leader. How much effort did you put in? The leader's face stiffened and he lowered his head. At that time when the high-level mirage beast was chasing him, it was Yiqing Luo who made the most accurate calculation for him and warned him, which allowed him to survive. Yiqing Qian gritted her teeth and stared at the group leader resentfully. Then she looked at Yiqing Luo. In short, we have more people, so we should get more. Take out all your magic cores and that magic crystal. Yiqing Luo snorted lightly and rolled her eyes disapprovingly. She spread out her palm towards the group leader, magic cores and magic crystal. Chapter 244. Xia Houji. Yiqing Qian shouted in a low voice when she saw the group leader took out the brocade bag. Her facial features were distorted and she could no longer maintain her usual gentleness. You are a mercenary hired by His Highness and me. According to the mercenary group regulations, all your spoils of war today should be handed over to the employer. As she spoke, Yiqing Qian's figure flashed and quickly moved towards Yiqing Luo's direction. She stretched out her hand and tried to snatch the brocade bag from the group leader's hand. Pa! Yiqing Qian felt a burning pain on her wrist. An extremely clear red mark immediately appeared on her fair and slender wrist. Yiqing Qian sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain and hurriedly withdrew her hand as she grimaced in pain. Immediately, she watched as Yiqing Luo took the brocade bag from the group leader and weighed it a few times. Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Qian's arm was already numb and she didn't even have the strength to lift her hand. What did you do to me? Yiqing Luo ignored her and directly poured out some magic cores from the brocade bag. About 10 pieces of magic cores. She casually threw them towards the direction of the group leader. These are your compensation. The group leader stretched out his hand and kept the 10 pieces of magic cores in his palm. His sword-like eyebrows were tightly knitted together. His upright and plain-spoken face revealed traces of suppressed anger. 10 pieces of magic cores. Young lady, are you trying to humiliate us? The mercenaries' faces immediately darkened. although they were filled with reverence towards an expert like Yiqing Luo. But they were a team. Even if Yiqing Luo was an expert, no matter how powerful she was, they would never allow her to humiliate their team in such a way. Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows, her cold and charming eyes like the moon outlined a narrow arc. Humiliate? Are you worth my effort to humiliate you? The moment these words came out, those mercenaries' faces turned even uglier. They knew this girl was arrogant, but they didn't expect her to be arrogant to this extent. Yiqing Qian was so angry that her whole body was trembling. The more she trembled, the more painful the numbness of her wrist became. Suddenly, she felt a sweet taste in her throat and a mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth. Yiqing Luo's words were obviously meant to ridicule her. The minute she recalled that she was forced to kneel down, Yiqing Luo actually left directly, totally disregarding her behavior. The fury in Yiqing Qian's heart burned even more vigorously. Your contribution today, deducting the cost of saving your lives, 10 pieces of magical beast cores is enough. Yiqing Luo sneered. Soon after, she placed the brocade bag into her sleeves and turned around to walk towards Dmo Xian. At this time, the sky was already beginning to brighten. If they stayed any longer, they would be late for the freshman training. Perhaps Yiqing Qian would catch hold of her weakness and report the matter of her sneaking out of the academy to the academy. One must know that the rules of the Heavenly Academy were extremely strict and would never allow students to leave the academy during non-holidays. The mother and son beast who were snuggling against each other, on seeing that Yiqing Luo's matter had been settled, the mother beast pushed Shiju over to Yiqing Luo's side. The Void Mother was extremely reluctant. But it understood that if it continued to stay, Shiju would probably be even more unwilling to leave it. It had finally made up its mind, but because of this reluctance, it would go back on its word. The mother beast's gaze slowly shifted onto Dmo Xian. Its eyes blinked and returned to Yiqing Luo. Immediately, it nodded its huge leopard head meaningfully. Looks like, even if I am not by Ju's side, it can still enjoy the warmth of home. Wait a minute. The Void Mother's eyes were filled with deep meaning and a teasing smile. What was going on? Chapter 245. Yiqing Luo tried to explain, but Dmo Xian didn't give her a chance. He used his actions to show the mother beast that it absolutely didn't misunderstand. Dmo Xian stretched out his long arm and held onto Yiqing Luo's waist. His thin lips curled up slightly, his pitch-black eyes revealed some tenderness. Don't worry, little Luo, will definitely do what he promised you. The strong and powerful arm imprisoned Yiqing Luo and she was unable to break free. The scorching hot chest was broad and thick. Yiqing Luo's cheeks flushed red as she slapped the hand on her waist fiercely. Yiqing Luo didn't notice that she had made such a delicate action of a little girl. The mother beast's eyes revealed an envious smile. Gradually, it became a little blurry. Its thoughts seemed to have drifted to a long time ago. It had such a sweet and warm period of time. 2 people and 1 beast finished their final farewell. A white 9-tailed fox descended from the sky. 9 white fluffy tails wrapped around a luxurious carriage. A pair of enchanting beast eyes, exuding a majestic aura that made one subconsciously submit to it. When it saw the 9-tailed fox, the mother beast suddenly leaped in front of Yiqing Luo. Its fur suddenly stood up as it stared at the 9-tailed fox with extreme vigilance. It let out a low growl. This is not an enemy. Yiqing Luo hurriedly appeased the mother beast and pointed to Dmo Xian. This is his contracted battle pet. Little Nine stood quietly in the middle of the rubble, a fluffy tail stretched over and landed beside Yiqing Luo's feet. The mother beast let out a low growl as it stared vigilantly at that tail. Little Nine, it's been hard on you. Dmo Xian held on to Yiqing Luo as he walked towards that tail. Little Nine's tail immediately curled up and the both of them were firmly swept into the carriage. It was until the both of them were safely sitting outside the carriage that the mother beast's fur slowly softened. It stared at Dmo Xian with a somewhat strange gaze. Shiju, let's go. Yiqing Luo waved to that little leopard. Shiju turned its little head and stared deeply at the mother beast. Its little tongue licked its mouth a few times as it let out a low growl. Following that petite body scurried into Yiqing Luo's arms at lightning speed. His tiny head was buried between Yiqing Luo's wrist, unwilling to personally experience this parting. Yiqing Luo rubbed its little head. Don't worry, you'll be able to see your mother again very soon, trust me. Little Nine extended his four limbs, soaring into the air. The carriage floated in midair. In the blink of an eye, it seemed to have melted into the air and disappeared without a trace. The Void Mother followed the scent for a long distance, and finally stopped at the edge of the fourth level of the magical beast forest. Nine-tailed fox, it can't be, right? That unattractive man who stood there like a fool from beginning to end is. The mercenaries raised their heads and looked in the direction where Nine-tailed fox had disappeared, unable to regain their senses for a long time. Xiaoji withdrew his gaze, a complicated look in his eyes. He clenched his fist, and the 10 demon cores in his palm burned painfully. Nine-tailed fox, there was only one person in the world who possessed such a pure and holy nine-tailed fox. That was the legendary figure of the Nirvana realm, Di Zun. A woman who could be by the side of Di Zun was naturally extraordinary. That lady had the capital to be arrogant. Your Highness, is that really Di Zun? When Yiqing Qian saw that nine-tailed fox, her face turned ashen as she fell to the ground. Her originally meticulously dressed hair was disheveled, like a crazy woman. Her exquisite, elegant, and beautiful dress was also torn apart piece by piece. The current Yiqing Qian was extremely embarrassed. Nine-tailed fox. Di Zun. That man turned out to be Di Zun. Idiot. Ling Fenghua's eyes were filled with unconcealable disgust. Chapter 246. Inside the carriage, Yiqing Luo was forcefully pulled into Dmo Xian's arms as she sat on him. The man's chin rested on Yiqing Luo's shoulder. As he spoke, he turned his head to look at Yiqing Luo's side profile. His warm breath made Yiqing Luo's petite body tremble slightly. Dmo Xian. Yiqing Luo tried her best to ignore the hot breath on her cheeks as she pursed her lips and spoke solemnly. There was a hint of seriousness in his tone. Dmo Xian's arms tightened. Did you ask Little Nine to create the beast tide? Yiqing Luo asked uncertainly. The mother beast's attitude towards Little Nine was obviously different from Chi-Chi. As a sacred beast, the mother beast had 100% respect for Chi-Chi. However, it was so hostile towards Little Nine. Although Little Nine was different from Chi-Chi, a holy beast, among the holy beasts. But after all, its status was above the mirage beasts. The only reason why the mother beast was so vigilant was Little Nine made use of his sacred beast's power to create this wave of beast tide. Because of this, the mother beast treated Little Nine as an enemy. Yes. Dmo Xian was calm. Sure enough. Yiqing Luo's long curly lashes fluttered unnaturally. Why are you so concerned about me? She looked sideways and coincidentally met his eyes. Yiqing Luo leaned into his arms, their bodies were closely pressed against each other. Is my uniqueness so mesmerizing? He asked Little Nine to create the beast tide just to let her grab the opportunity to break through to the mystic profound stage. He spent so much effort and wasted so much time just to stay by her side. Even if she had something on her that was worth Dmo Xian's interest, he could just let Wind keep an eye on her in the dark. There was no need to circle around her and use his charm to lure her to take the bait. You don't know how charming you are. The man's low and hoarse voice reverberated in her heart. It was like a feather, constantly scratching at the bottom of his heart. Dmo Xian's hand suddenly exerted force as he carried Yiqing Luo up and turned around. Yiqing Luo was completely straddling the man's lap at this moment. Face to face, 4 pairs of eyes looked at each other, their breaths on each other's face. Lil Luo, don't feel too touched, in future. There will be many more touching things. Dmo Xian's lips curled upwards as his finger caressed Yiqing Luo's eyes. When he first saw her, it was this pair of eyes that attracted his attention. The corners of her long and enchanting eyes shone with a piercingly cold light, but it didn't lose her purity. She was as cold as the moon and as dazzling as the moon. As the seductive light flowed, it also exuded a ruthlessness that did not match her face and age at all. This kind of ruthlessness came from the bones, a ruthlessness that was unyielding and unyielding. Her personality was just too much to his liking. The higher a profound practitioner cultivated, the longer their lifespan would be. Dmo Xian had once felt that in the long lonely years ahead, all he could do was to muddle along day by day, until he was sick of this kind of life. However, Yiqing Luo had inadvertently entered his eyes. It ignited his heart that had been cold and lonely for a long time. Perhaps, to find this scourge, to bring disaster to the heavens together with him, then the days ahead would be even more exciting. Dmo Xian gazed at Yiqing Luo's face as the smile on his lips became increasingly gentle, revealing an evil charm. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips but didn't reject Dmo Xian's hug. The man's gentle gaze, simple but warm words, every word and sentence, stirred up circles of ripples in Yiqing Luo's heart. Unknowingly, in this warm atmosphere, Little Nine stopped at a corner not far away from the Heavenly Academy. Little Nine had calculated the time very accurately. In another 1 hour, it would be the freshman training time. Chapter 247. Dmo Xian's elegant brows were slightly hooked, his devilishly handsome face revealed a trace of charm because of the spirited look in his eyes. For a man to be able to display his flirtatiousness and laziness to the fullest without losing his fortitude, as well as his innate power to look down on the entire world, was something that was hard to describe. In this world, there was probably only Dmo Xian alone. Forgot again, how to call me. Dmo Xian lowered his head, his long arms once again took Yiqing Luo into his arms. Yiqing Luo's cheeks turned hot, recalling the Xian he asked her to call, her face became even hotter. Forgot, then let me make you remember. Just as the voice fell, Yiqing Luo's body felt light, her waist was tightly embraced by the man's arms. He had bent over her, and his lips were on hers. Gentle and deep, extremely lingering. As if all the emotions were melted into this kiss. Yiqing Luo's nose was filled with the man's rich sandalwood scent. Her mind, with a bang, went blank. The blush on her face seemed to spread throughout her body and mind, her whole body was ignited with a slight heat. Their black hair flew, intertwined together, 10 fingers clasped tightly, as if to indicate that they would be entangled together forever. Dmo Xian's arms around her waist, wrapped even tighter. His lips slowly moved to Yiqing Luo's ear, his breathing was heavy and scorching. Call me. The low hoarse voice, with some kind of repressed emotion, made Yiqing Luo's eyes even more blurred. Her delicate body was almost hanging in Dmo Xian's arms, leaning on his chest, listening to her heartbeat, and hearing his unique charming whisper. Yiqing Luo thought, there was probably no one in this world who could escape such temptation. Slender fingers subconsciously clenched the man's lapel. In her heart, a decision was formed. She was not the kind of person who liked to be tangled and let her imagination run wild. In her world, it was either black or white, there was no middle color. Like was like, hate was hate, she didn't like to guess. And because of this, after this decision was formed, Yiqing Luo had already raised her head, her charming eyes were suffused with flowing light, revealing some seriousness and seriousness. Dmo Xian, do you like me? The man's pitch-black eyes reflected her face. Yiqing Luo could feel the sweat seeping out from her palms. She could feel her petite body tensing up, trembling slightly. Nervous. Filled with anxiety, she waited for Dmo Xian's answer. Between her and Dmo Xian, no one had ever opened their mouth to break this kind of ambiguity. Yiqing Luo didn't want to go on like this with him. Liking was liking. If he didn't like it, they should change the way they interacted. Otherwise, her heart would really be stirred by Dmo Xian. If he didn't love her, then he should cut off all possibilities as soon as possible. Maintaining a friendship was good for both of them. Dmo Xian Huan loosened his grip on her waist. That pair of obsidian-like devastating and dazzling black pupils stared at Yiqing Luo with a slightly deep expression. He didn't say a word and Yiqing Luo didn't rush him. After some time, it was until the academy's bell rang that Yiqing Luo restrained the nervousness in her heart as she clenched her fists. Think carefully about what kind of relationship we should use to continue getting along. The next time we meet, I'll be waiting for your answer. Her thin lips slightly hooked, she pulled out the wooden token representing her own information from her waist and handed it to Dmo Xian. Help me do something to cover up my profound grade. This wooden token would be updated once a day. It would change the information of the holder of the wooden token in time. If the people in the academy found out that she had advanced from Yellow Profound 9th grade to Mystic Profound 4th grade overnight, it would definitely attract the attention of the academy. Chapter 248. Dmo Xian's eyes were deep as he stared at Yiqing Luo's face for a long time before he received the wooden token. He placed both hands on the wooden token and immediately returned it to her. If you want to change the profound grade information on the wooden token, just use the power of the profound jade heart. Yiqing Luo nodded and kept the wooden token, thanked him and turned to walk towards the academy. Dmo Xian didn't stop her but stared deeply at her back until she disappeared from his sight before he retracted his gaze. The lady's clear and serious voice rang in his ears. Dmo Xian, do you like me? Right. If he didn't like her, he wouldn't have allowed Yiqing Luo to offend him again and again. He wouldn't be willing to stay by her side and pay attention to everything about her. But, this kind of like, was it love? He understood the meaning behind Yiqing Luo's question. He knew what Yiqing Luo wanted. But, he couldn't answer. After living for so long, Dmo Xian had never loved anyone. As for love, he couldn't understand it. He couldn't tell if he could give Yiqing Luo the kind of feeling she wanted. Back at the dormitory, Yiqing Luo placed Shiju and Chi-Chi into the pet space. She quickly fetched a basin of water for herself, washed up and quickly dressed up. Just in time for the freshman training. After 2 days of habit, the moment Instructor Ho gave the order, the students didn't waste their saliva to complain as they lined up and started running around the square. Sure enough, as Yiqing Luo expected. Just when she was on the 4th lap, Yiqing Qian led Lu Shuiyu to the square. The moment they saw the students from the high profound class, and 2 beautiful ladies at that, the freshmen looked over. It's the senior sister from the high profound class and the vice president. Isn't that the genius Missy from Three Springs sect? No wonder she's the #1 beauty in Three Springs town, she looks so good. Listening to the exclamations of the crowd, Yiqing Luo snorted disdainfully. Yiqing Qian saw Yiqing Luo who was jogging in front from afar, her well-manicured eyebrows frowned. That slut really left the academy last night. Lu Shuiyu's brows were filled with coldness as she asked coldly. Yiqing Qian smiled eerily, His Highness told me personally. She cleverly covered up the fact that she had also left the academy last night, and used Ling Fenghua as a shield. According to the academy's rules, as long as we can prove that the little bitch really left the academy last night, she had a way to chase Yiqing Luo out of the academy. Lu Shuiyu's eyes were cold, and the corners of her mouth curved into a sinister smile. When Instructor Chu saw Lu Shuiyu, His expressionless face frowned and showed some disgust. He walked over and said in a cold voice, "Why did the vice president come to the square?" "The faculty council has received a secret report that one of the freshmen has violated the academy's rules. I have come here to verify the situation," Lu Shuiyu said in a businesslike manner. Instructor Chu frowned and subconsciously glanced at the completely unaffected Yiqing Luo who was still jogging. For Lu Shuiyu to make an appearance, it was probably related to Yiqing Luo. A tall tree attracts the wind. This new student was too outstanding and had a stubborn personality. He had made too many enemies, and every day, trouble would come to him. Sure enough, he heard Lu Shuiyu said, "Instructor, please call student Yi over." Instructor Chu was about to speak when a cold voice came from behind. "The students are training. If there's anything, the vice president will come after the training is over." It was Instructor Ho. Chapter 249. Lu Shuiyu's expression stiffened, as if she had not expected Instructor Ho to not give her any face. Yiqing Qian furrowed her brows, pretending to be gentle, but a trace of jealousy seeped out. "Instructor, if this freshman really violates the rules, he will be driven out of the academy. Whether he is trained or not, it doesn't matter anymore. As long as she is still a student of the Heavenly Academy, she is my student." Instructor Ho snorted coldly without giving her any face. He had never liked to talk, but now he was staring at Yiqing Qian, preaching. "As a student of the high profound class, if you have so much time to care about the freshmen, you might as well cultivate diligently, don't embarrass the high profound class." Yiqing Qian's face suddenly darkened, her hands clenched into fists, suppressing the surging anger in her heart. Although Instructor Ho was just a freshman training instructor, but he had trained many elite students and had quite a prestige in the academy. Moreover, the Heavenly Academy emphasized on respecting the teachers, and now that she was reprimanded, Yiqing Qian could not refute a word. "Instructor is right." Lu Shuiyu waited for Instructor Ho to finish and continued, "I called Yiqing Qian to accompany me, because the freshman who was tipped off is Yiqing Luo." She raised her voice slightly. The freshmen who were running on the square heard her words. One by one, they looked at Yiqing Luo who was jogging at a constant speed and whispered to each other. Why was it that every day, this freshman could create some trouble, causing them, a group of freshmen, to be criticized and pointed at by other students all day long? Instructor must be very clear about student Ye's character. Student Yiqing Qian is student Ye's elder sister. I specially called her over to have a good talk with her. Lu Shuiyu's words not only helped Yiqing Qian out of trouble, but also belittled Yiqing Luo as a problem student who refused to be disciplined. Instructor Ho frowned slightly and was about to speak, but Lu Shuiyu had already passed him and walked directly towards the square. She stood beside the inner line of the square. Yiqing Luo jogged and came face to face. "Student Yi, please follow me to the faculty council." Lu Shuiyu stretched out her arm and blocked Yiqing Luo's way. Yiqing Luo's footsteps were steady and her breathing was steady. She raised her eyes and glanced at Lu Shuiyu indifferently, as the corners of her lips tugged upwards in disdain. She bypassed Lu Shuiyu's hand and continued to jog. Lu Shuiyu's raised arm froze in midair, her face ashen. Yiqing Luo actually dared to throw her face in front of so many students. If Yiqing Luo wasn't taught a lesson, these freshmen would really think that faculty council was easy to bully. "Student Yi, I order you in the name of the Vice President of the Faculty Council to cooperate with all the investigations of the Faculty Council. If you don't abide by the Academy's rules, don't blame me for reporting this to the principal." Lu Shuiyu narrowed her eyes. Her expression was dignified. The students were in an uproar. One by one, they retracted their necks, afraid that they would be involved in this matter. If he were to report this to the principal, he would definitely be expelled from the academy. If he was forced to leave by the Heavenly Academy, the other academies would not accept him nor dare to accept him. This also meant that after being chased out of the Heavenly Academy, his entire life would be ruined. What right do you have to investigate just because you say so? Lu Xiaoyu panted heavily as she ran to Lu Shuaiyu's side and stopped in her tracks. Her little face was filled with anger. Due to the long period of jogging, her face was flushed red from holding back. Just entered the academy and the faculty council forcefully escorted Qing Luo to the faculty council, saying what investigation? It's only been a few days and you're already finding excuses to say what investigation. Do you really think that you're the god of the academy and everyone revolves around you? Lu Xiaoyu spat out fiercely, her face was filled with disdain. If you have the ability, get me into the devil class too. You're just a lackey of the faculty council and you really think that you're a human. Chapter 250. No matter how cool Lu Shuaiyu was, being scolded by a freshman at this time, the anger in her heart was burning. Lu Xiaoyu, you publicly insulted your senior and insulted the staff of the faculty council. Believe it or not, I can expel you from the academy just based on these 2 points. Yo, Lu Xiaoyu put her hands on her hips, puffed out her chest, and looked like a rascal. It turns out that the faculty council is such a place to bully people. Well, I want to see what means you people from the faculty council are going to use to bully a freshman like me. Lu Shuaiyu's face was as black as charcoal, her malicious and resentful eyes stared at Lu Xiaoyu. If it wasn't in public, Lu Shuaiyu would definitely slap her in the face. When the freshmen and seniors around saw this scene, they were all mourning for Lu Xiaoyu. It was the first time they saw someone daring to openly provoke the faculty council. Did these 2 freshmen not want to live anymore? Did they not want to stay in the academy anymore? Many students were in an uproar, and there was a lot of discussion. The more they discussed, the darker Lu Shuaiyu's face became. That pair of malicious eyes shot out a ruthless intent. As the vice president of the faculty council, this identity could help Lu Shuaiyu get a lot of things in the academy. But at the same time, she would also lose a lot of things. For example, no matter how angry she was, she must suppress all the anger. On the surface, she must not let any students catch her in the slightest. Lu Shuaiyu took a deep breath and suppressed her anger. She gritted her teeth and spat out each word. The purpose of the faculty council's existence is to maintain the peace of the academy, to maintain the order of the academy. We don't want to be gods in the eyes of the students. The only thing we want is that when any student is in trouble, the faculty council can provide them with help. Student E was secretly reported, so the faculty council naturally needs to ask student E to verify it. After explaining till here, Lu Shuaiyu's head that was clouded by anger was much clearer. Her eyes were gloomy, and she snorted coldly, but you, as a freshman, have been secretly reported again and again. That is your own problem, how can you blame it on the faculty council? Your words are even better than your singing. Lu Xiaoyu spat again. Just as he was about to open his mouth to ridicule Lu Shuaiyu, he suddenly heard a clear voice. So your faculty council is a place where you can hear the wind and hear the rain. At the end of the public square, Qing Luo was holding a white handkerchief, wiping the tears on her forehead as she walked over slowly. She had finished the 5 laps that the instructor had set for all the students, and she had run 1 more lap. Originally, Qing Luo was prepared to try running 10 laps today. But now, she saw Lu Xiaoyu arguing with Lu Shuaiyu because of her. With Lu Xiaoyu's personality, the 2 of them would probably fight. The other party had his own influence and status in the academy. If they were to fight head-on, Lu Xiaoyu would definitely not be able to gain any advantage. Might as well, Qing Luo planned to settle the faculty council's trivial matters first before completing all the training in one go. I request to report this to the faculty council. The president and vice president of the faculty council have a strange habit. They always like to go to the dormitories one by one to peek at the female students bathing after the freshmen's training. Yiqing Luo raised her brows, her voice was clear and melodious. Almost everyone in the square could hear her teasing words. Pfft, peeping at female students, the students laughed out loud on the spot. One by one, they began to imagine the scene of the mysterious president, pulling along the elegant and noble vice president, peeping at the female students bathing together. After they finished imagining, their expressions were strange. Even the gaze that looked at Lu Shuiyu revealed some strange and ridiculing. Chapter 251. You, what nonsense are you talking about? Lu Shuiyu's pretty face flushed red, her eyes were as vicious as ice. President is elegant and holy, he is busy with the school's official affairs, how could he do such a dirty thing? Student Yi, if you continue to create trouble, I will bring you to the dean right now. Yiqing Luo sneered, she couldn't help but shake her head and sigh. Si Yanmu was really capable, he actually charmed Lu Shuiyu into submission. Being slandered, Lu Shuiyu was only worried about Si Yanmu's reputation, she didn't care about herself at all. Lu Shuiyu's feelings towards Si Yanmu was totally a kind of sick obsession. Yiqing Luo shrugged her shoulders, spread out her hands and said helplessly, if the faculty council does not investigate, how can you prove that the president will not do such a dirty thing? How can you prove that you don't have such a special hobby? You are slandering me. This was the first time for Lu Shuiyu to meet such a sharp-tongued freshman. She had never suffered any humiliation, but she had fallen into Yiqing Luo's trap again and again. She was so angry that her face turned ugly. Seeing that the situation was once again under Yiqing Luo's control, Lu Shuiyu couldn't say a word. Yiqing Qian's eyes were cold, revealing a hint of murderous intent. She clenched her fists, and when she looked up, the resentment in her eyes dissipated, revealing a kind smile and walked towards Yiqing Luo. Seventh sister, Shuiyu is the vice president of the faculty council, she has been in the school for many years, the school knows her temperament best. Yiqing Qian put on a caring look, stretched out her hand to pull Yiqing Luo's wrist. You can do whatever you want at home, but this is the Heavenly Academy, if there is no evidence, don't talk nonsense. Yiqing Luo avoided her hand and patted her wrist with a disgusted look, investigating me without any explanation, does the faculty council have any evidence? If there is no evidence, what right do you have to look for me again and again? After a pause, a crafty look flashed past her eyes, and her lips revealed a coquettish smile. It is said that the faculty council is established for students to study well in the school, now what vice president is doing is considered as harassing a freshman like me. She raised her eyebrows and straightened her uniform. Since the vice president said that he would bring me to see the dean, then let's do it. I can also ask the dean, is the faculty council really established for the academy to harass students and prevent students from training? Yiqing Luo's words made the surrounding students stunned by her domineering manner. This new student was simply too arrogant. Yet, so arrogant, so handsome and domineering. This kind of arrogance, when displayed by Yiqing Luo, was a kind of temperament. It was a temperament that made it impossible for people to feel disgusted by such arrogance. Lu couldn't help but feeling. Lu Shuiyu was rendered speechless. Her face, which had always been cold and elegant, was now flushed with embarrassment. Yiqing Qian secretly gritted her teeth. It wasn't easy for the faculty council to come forward, she must not miss this opportunity. If she did not give last, Ye Shui Qing Qing, she was as a, Yiqing, not, last night, Yi was, she, Qing 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 had Yiqing. You want evidence? She really had evidence. Yiqing Qian sneered, and in the blink of an eye, the gentle mask hung on her face again. Evidence. Of course there is evidence, otherwise sister will not accompany vice president to question you. Yiqing Jian pinched her soft voice and set out the academy's rules. The academy's rules are written very clearly. During the period of time in the academy, other than holidays, you are not allowed to leave the academy. If you violate the Academy's rules, you will be expelled immediately. Chapter 252. Yiqing Luo propped up her chin, a trace of doubt surfaced on her fair face. Last night. After training last night, I rested in the dormitory. When did I leave the Academy? His Highness saw it with his own eyes. You and a strange man appeared in the magic beast forest. Yiqing Qian's beautiful eyes were filled with a gentle light as she said softly, "Tell him everything now, be honest and I will plead for leniency to the Academy for you." She deliberately concealed Dmo Xian's identity. If it involved the Overlord, the Academy would probably not punish Yiqing Luo too heavily on account of the Overlord. What she wanted was for Yiqing Luo to leave the Heavenly Academy forever, to be reviled and ridiculed by the world, never to recover from this setback. Waste should live a waste's life. However, there was no hint of fear on Yiqing Luo's face. Elder sister is amazing, you didn't leave the Academy and could meet with His Highness, and even get news about me from him. Don't tell me. Elder sister also sneaked out of the Academy last night, to meet with His Highness. Yiqing Luo blinked her eyes innocently. So elder sister and His Highness have such a good relationship, you can't help it even after a day. Previously in Three Springs sect, elder sister and His Highness had a secret meeting every night. I didn't expect elder sister and His Highness to still be so close after coming to the Academy. Yiqing Qian's face turned green and white, with some panic in her eyes. Yiqing Luo really dared to say anything. This kind of private talk, although Yiqing Luo didn't say it in detail, but who in the crowd didn't understand? Many students had long heard that Three Springs City's #1 beauty, Three Springs sect's eldest missy, Yiqing Qian, had an affair with His Highness behind her sister's back. But rumors were after all rumors, without any confirmation, everyone just treated it as a joke and let it pass. But now, they heard it with their own ears. The main character of the rumor said these words personally. The matter of Yiqing Qian and His Highness secretly having an affair was true. Many students looked at Yiqing Qian with all kinds of gazes. Some bold male students stared at Yiqing Qian's beautiful figure, unbridled. If it was any other time, when Yiqing Qian heard this, she would definitely nod proudly to admit it and humiliate Yiqing Luo. But now, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, if she admitted to what she had said, her reputation would be completely ruined. Seventh younger sister, what are you talking about? There's nothing between His Highness and me. Yiqing Qian pretended to be shocked and picked up the embroidered handkerchief to suppress the non-existent tears in the corner of her eyes. His Royal Highness is your fiancé. As the future crown princess, you've been slandering His Royal Highness behind his back all day long. If you marry him in the future, you'll be the one being laughed at. Yiqing Luo sneered, going against your conscience to say such words, you really can endure it. No wonder the crown prince is so infatuated with you. Yiqing Qian's face turned paler by the minute. She felt that the gazes of the students around her were filled with ridicule and obscenity. The taut string in his brain snapped, the gentle mask on Yiqing Qian's face gradually cracked. Just as she was about to open her mouth to argue with Yiqing Luo, a hand was placed on her shoulder. That hand grabbed her shoulder and flung it away casually. I have no interest to listen to the matter of you two sisters fighting over a man. Lu Shuayu's icy cold voice was heard. The purpose of my visit today is to verify whether student Yi has violated the rules. Other matters can be discussed later. Chapter 253. In order to suppress an explosive topic, a more explosive and eye-catching topic would have to be produced. The endless dispute would only make the surrounding people remember this matter for a longer time. Lu Shuayu raised her head coldly and spread out her hand towards Yiqing Luo. Take out your school's wooden token. Yiqing Luo snorted lightly. Do you think I'll take it out just because you say so? This is the evidence. Lu Shuayu saw that she didn't take it out and thought she was feeling guilty, so she immediately became more confident. The Crown Prince mentioned that you had a breakthrough in the Magic Beast Forest last night. As long as you take out your school's wooden token for verification, you will be cleared. This was indeed the biggest evidence. Yiqing Luo wanted to prove that she didn't violate the rules and left the academy. She would know the authenticity of the wooden token when she took it out. If she was still in the yellow profound 9th grade, then the faculty council would make things up out of nothing. But if Yiqing Luo had really advanced, then, the matter of Yiqing Luo leaving the academy was 80% true. Yiqing Luo's face froze, secretly bit her lower lip, a trace of panic flashed across her eyes. This panic was fleeting. But it still didn't escape Lu Shuiyu's eyes. She laughed secretly in her heart, her cold and arrogant face also revealed a trace of a smile. Student Yi, didn't you say that you were in the dormitory last night? Since that's the case, take out the school's wooden token to prove your innocence. Yiqing Luo's hand, placed on the wooden token on her waist, and took a few steps back. But there was no change in her sweet and exquisite face. She snorted coldly, Vice President's action will make me feel that you are insulting my character. On the first day in the academy, Vice President framed me for bullying my roommate, forcing me to prove my innocence. Today, you framed me for violating the rules, forcing me to prove my innocence again. The faculty council's action, in my opinion, is questioning my character, insulting my character. Yiqing Luo's reaction, in the eyes of Lu Shuiyu and Yiqing Qian, was a sign of a guilty conscience. In other words, Yiqing Luo's school's wooden token had absolutely changed. Yiqing Luo's current words were all because of her guilty conscience, not daring to take out the academy's wooden token. Take out the wooden token, otherwise I will assume that you have a guilty conscience and are unwilling to hand over the evidence. Lu Shuiyu narrowed her eyes, not wanting to argue with Yiqing Luo over other things. Yiqing Jian was an idiot and would be led by the nose by Yiqing Luo. But she wasn't. If she were to respond to Yiqing Luo's words, she was afraid that Yiqing Luo would use the secret report on her and see Yanmu peeping at the female students bathing to stop her. Lu Shuiyu only insisted on one thing, and that was to hand over the wooden token to prove that Yiqing Luo had violated the rules. On what basis do you insist that the wooden token is the evidence? Yiqing Luo clenched the wooden token on her waist tightly in her palm, her slender brows knitted tightly. Can the faculty council malign the freshmen at will? All right. As long as you can prove your innocence and prove that the faculty council has wronged you, I will promise you one thing unconditionally. Previously, when Lu Shuiyu heard Yiqing Qian's words, she had some suspicions in her heart. Although Yiqing Qian had brought out Ling Fenghua, but who could determine whether this was Yiqing Qian's lie or not? But at this time, under Yiqing Luo's covert hint, Lu Shuiyu completely believed Yiqing Qian's words. Yiqing Luo was waiting for Lu Shuiyu to fall into the trap. Between her brows, there was a treacherous sneer, but her lips were slightly pursed as she looked towards Yiqing Jian. Chapter 254. You trust my eldest sister so much. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips, struggling to lower her eyes, and stared at the wooden token on her waist. She looked like she was making a final struggle. I'm just doing what a vice president should do. Yiqing Luo's fingers curled up as she approached Lu Shuiyu and spoke in a voice that only the both of them could hear. Aren't you afraid that Yiqing Qian knew that we are not on good terms and is using you to suppress my arrogance? Lu Shuiyu's face was cold as she snorted. Does she have the guts? The faculty council's status in the academy could be said to be second only to one but above tens of thousands. Although Yiqing Qian was the Missy of Three Springs sect, in this academy, she had to obey the rules. Yiqing Qian naturally did not dare to offend the faculty council. Dare to lie to her. Was it possible? Then, what if? Yiqing Luo seemed to be trying her best to convince Lu Shuiyu. What if I take out the wooden token to prove my innocence? In the end, the one who will be accused of bullying others would be the faculty council. However, Lu Shuiyu had never thought that Yiqing Luo was digging a pit for her step by step. And she, foolishly followed Yiqing Luo into the pit. You don't need to worry about this. Lu Shuiyu frowned impatiently, just give me the wooden token and don't waste your training time. Yiqing Luo's face showed a helpless look as her pink lips trembled slightly. After a while, she untied the wooden token from her waist. The one who reported that I violated the academy's rules is my eldest sister. I will take responsibility for my own actions. Since it was Big Sister who reported it, I won't implicate the vice president. Yiqing Luo put on an understanding look. If my innocence is proven, I only need eldest sister to promise me one thing. Sure. Lu Shuiyu thought that Yiqing Luo was struggling at the last moment. Anne. I need an apology from you. Yiqing Luo's eyes flashed slightly as her lips curled into a smile. Lu Shuiyu hesitated for a moment before nodding, no problem. Yiqing Luo flicked her fingers and the wooden token fell into Lu Shuiyu's palm. She had long guessed that Yiqing Qian would absolutely take the opportunity to create trouble. The function of the wooden token automatically updating her profound rank was indeed too easy to expose all her information. Fortunately, she had such a heaven-defying man by her side. Dmo Xian used his profound energy to replace the original energy in the wooden token. Unless one's profound grade was higher than Dmo Xian's, it was impossible to detect the changes in the wooden token. Because of this, when Lu Shuiyu held the wooden token and used her profound energy to check, she discovered the information displayed on it. Name, Yiqing Luo. Gender, female. Age, 15. Profound rank, yellow. Profound 9th grade. Identity, young lord of the Three Springs sect, 7th miss of the Yi clan. Lu Shuiyu's expression changed slightly as she glanced sideways at Yiqing Qian's direction. Yiqing Qian's face was filled with complacency, as though she had foreseen Yiqing Luo's expulsion from the academy. That expression did not seem to be fake. Lu Shuiyu's palm swept across the wooden tablet again. However, the information displayed was still the same. Yellow. Profound 9th grade. Yellow. Profound 9th grade. No matter how you looked at it, the profound rank was yellow. Profound 9th grade. When Yiqing Luo entered the academy, she was already at yellow. Profound 9th grade. Yiqing Luo did not break through at all. This also meant that the academy's wooden token was proof that Yiqing Luo did not leave the academy last night. She did not violate the academy's rules. Lu Shuiyu's face turned ashen as she gripped the wooden token tightly, almost crushing it into pieces. How much longer does Vice President want to look? Yiqing Luo's lips curled up as she tilted her head innocently. Can you return the wooden token to me? Innocent my foot. Chapter 255. Lu Shuiyu's gaze was icy cold. She was so angry that she couldn't stop trembling. This was the first time she was toyed with by a freshman. While Lu Shuiyu hated Yiqing Luo, she also hated Yiqing Qian. If it wasn't for Yiqing Qian, she wouldn't be able to appear here today and wouldn't bring shame to the faculty council. If Si Yanmu's reputation was damaged, how could she be at ease? How could she be reconciled? Lu Shuiyu secretly cursed herself in her heart. For so many years, she had been calm when she encountered things. Other than Si Yanmu, nothing else could stir up her emotions. But unfortunately, in front of Yiqing Luo, she repeatedly lost control. She didn't even notice the change in Yiqing Luo. From the beginning, Yiqing Luo had deliberately created an illusion that there was a problem with her wooden token, to deceive her eyes. If she was a little more attentive, Lu Shuiyu might be able to discover that Yiqing Luo's attitude was completely different from the usual insolence. I have misunderstood Student Yi. After a long while, Lu Shuiyu gritted her teeth and squeezed out these few words one by one. She handed the wooden token back. Yiqing Luo took it and pinned it on her waist again. I have said from the beginning that this is a misunderstanding. but Vice President chose to believe my eldest sister. I have no choice. Lu Shuiyu's face was gloomy, her eyes glanced at Yi Qingqian and sneered, since it is a misunderstanding, then I shall not disturb student Ye's training. After that, she flicked her sleeves and walked quickly towards Yi Qingqian's direction. Wait! Yi Qing Luo called out to Lu Shuiyu, her brows raised slightly, revealing a hint of ridicule. Vice President, you still owe me an apology. Her innocence was proved. Yi Qingqian unconditionally agreed to a request of hers. And Lu Shuiyu wanted to apologize to her in front of so many students. Vice President promised me in front of so many students, don't tell me you want to go back on your words. Yi Qing Luo raised her brows. Finishing her words, as she stared at Lu Shuiyu with a vicious glare, Yi Qing Luo waved her hand helplessly. All right, since Vice President wants to go back on her words, then forget it, it's just an apology. My innocence has been confirmed, that's enough. Such magnanimity and knowing when to advance and retreat, made Lu Shuiyu's face turn black. F***ck. Yi Qing Luo had already said so. If she really didn't apologize and put on the airs of the Vice President, who knows how this group of students would talk about the faculty council behind their backs. Lu Shuiyu was so angry that her face turned ashen, as she cursed Yi Qingqian in her heart. She took a deep breath and turned around, facing Yi Qing Luo's direction, spitting out 3 words one by one, I'm sorry. Yi Qing Luo dug her ears and raised her voice, oh. What did you say? Why can't I hear it clearly? Who are you apologizing to, and why? Yi Qing Luo's words made the students present as well as the instructors stunned. Holy shit! Was there anyone who rubbed their noses in the face like this? Yet, Shi Feng still dared to make fun of the vice guild leader, who had always been cold and aloof, lower his head and apologize. In the entire academy, probably only Yi Qing Luo alone dared to do this. Listening to the discussions of the surrounding students, Lu Shuiyu's face became increasingly gloomy. She suppressed her anger and clenched her fists. Student Yi, I sincerely apologize to you on behalf of the faculty council. I shouldn't have misunderstood you for breaking the rules. Chapter 256. As long as student Yi doesn't do anything that violates the Academy's rules or the Academy's balance, the Faculty Council will naturally not look for you. Lu Shuiyu resisted the urge to vomit blood and turned to leave. Wait. Yi Qing Luo opened her mouth to call out to her again. Previously Vice President said that if you've wronged me, then you must agree to one request of mine, and this request was passed to my eldest sister, so it should still count, right? Lu Shuiyu coldly snorted, of course. When Yi Qingqian heard this, she realized that something was wrong and her expression changed drastically. How could it be possible? She definitely went to the magic beast forest last night. Student Yi Qingqian, if there's no evidence and you speak without thinking, the faculty council can fabricate false news to deceive the members of the faculty council and bring you back to the faculty council for guidance. Lu Shuiyu shot a cold glance at Yi Qingqian as she avoided her outstretched hand. When Lu Shuiyu saw her, she felt extremely vexed. I'm not lying, she definitely went to the magic beast forest last night and even advanced. That wooden token isn't. Yi Qingqian froze on the spot in shock. Profound rank, yellow profound 9th grade. Lu Shuiyu glanced at her coldly. Classmate Ye's profound level is normal, there are no signs of advancement. If a profound practitioner was about to advance, or had already advanced, profound chi fluctuations would seep out from the Academy's wooden plaque. Whereas on Yi Qing Luo's wooden token, other than the stable yellow profound 9th grade profound chi, there wasn't the slightest bit of profound chi. Impossible. Yi Qingqian's eyes widened as she cried out in disbelief. She had witnessed with her own eyes that in the battle between Yi Qing Luo and Lang Fenghua, Yi Qing Luo had broken through to the mystic profound grade and had even directly advanced 4 grades. The Academy's wooden token would absolutely update Yi Qing Luo's latest grade. How could it still be at the Yellow Xian 9th grade? How could there be no profound waves? Yi Qing Qian was puzzled. Big sister, I've been obedient and followed the rules since I was young. Why would I break the rules of the Academy? Yi Qing Luo laughed lightly as she brushed her long hair behind her head. Since Vice President has already promised me on behalf of eldest sister, then we have to do things according to the rules. Even if we are sisters, we have to settle the accounts clearly. Obedient. Yi Qing Qian's lips twitched as her face was filled with disgust. She really couldn't tell which part of Yi Qing Luo was so obedient. Hearing Yi Qing Luo's last sentence, Yi Qing Qian's face turned ashen. Agree to a request from Yi Qing Luo. Would she be able to survive? Why is big sister's face so pale? You don't have to be afraid. After all, big sister was also deceived by the crown prince. We are sisters, so I won't let you commit murder and arson. Yi Qing Luo covered her mouth as she giggled. The charm between her brows revealed a captivating charm. For the next 3 days, you will be in charge of the Academy's latrines. You. Yi Qing Qian's face turned pitch black and gloomy. She furiously raised her hand and pointed at Yi Qing Luo, so angry that her entire body was trembling. Yi Qing Luo, you dare to ask me to sweep the latrine? Not just cleaning the latrines. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled upwards as she gave an incomparably elegant smile, but to clean up all the toilets in the Academy one by one. The toilet bowl and waste paper basket cannot be left behind. Don't you dare. Cleaning the bathroom and scrubbing the toilet. She wouldn't do it even if she was beaten to death. If she did that, how would she have the face to continue staying in this academy? Yi Qing Luo raised her eyebrows and squinted her eyes. This is what Vice President promised. If you don't agree, wouldn't it be a slap to Vice President's face? That's what she promised, you let her. Yi Qing Qian's mind suddenly sobered up and immediately stopped talking. Chapter 257. A slut would be tormented by a wicked person. Just like Yi Qing Qian, she usually bullied others, but in front of Lu Shuiyu, she became timid. Under the influence of Yi Tianquang, Yi Qing Qian still had her inferiority complex. As the eldest daughter of the Yi family, the eldest daughter of the Three Springs sect, she was just a concubine's daughter. No matter how famous her name was, no matter how much Yi Tianquang doted on her, it couldn't change the fact that she was born of a concubine. In particular, Yi Qing Qian learned a bit from Yi Tianquang's fawning manner. Towards the faculty council, Yi Qing Qian always had a fawning attitude. As Yi Qing Luo said, this was Lu Shuiyu's request. But Yi Qing Luo put this request on her, and Lu Shuiyu also acquiesced. If she didn't agree, it would be a slap on Lu Shuiyu's face, making her lose her face. Yi Qing Qian's gentle and delicate face could no longer maintain her fairy-like mask. Her facial features were hideous, distorted and horrifying. Yi Qing Luo had this idea from the beginning. She wanted to make it hard for her to back down. Refusing would offend Lu Shuiyu. If not, her reputation would be ruined, and she would become a joke in the Heavenly Academy forever. Eldest sister, I still have other training to do. I won't waste time with you here. Yi Qing Luo smiled elegantly, her eyes were gleaming. This flowing light revealed a strong sense of ridicule and ridicule. Yi Qing Qian was so angry that she couldn't say a word. She heard Yi Qing Luo continue to laugh. There's no time like the present, eldest sister shall start from today. Yi Qing Luo, you. Not waiting for Yi Qing Qian to speak, Yi Qing Luo directly interrupted her and looked at Lu Shuiyu with a sweet and harmless smile. Vice President is a person who keeps her promise. I think she will definitely supervise my eldest sister to complete the request. The two women, bright and beautiful faces, were as black as the bottom of a pot. The target they wanted to deal with was smiling like a flower. stretching her limbs, while returning to the inner track, jogging again. Shui you, I can't. Yi Qingqian's face was ashen, turned to Lu Shuiyu, trying to plead. Lu Shuiyu gave a cold humph. Student Yi Qingqian, this is how you play with my trust in you. Very well, since student Yi has already stated her request, you can go and do it now. I will let the members of the faculty council supervise you. Saying that, she didn't bother about Yi Qingqian, whose face was as pale as paper as she flicked her sleeves and left the square. Yi Qingqian was in disbelief. This was clearly a request that Lu Shuiyu had agreed to. Could it be that Lu Shuiyu really wanted her to clean the toilet? On the track, Lu Xiaoyu caught up with Yi Qing Luo's pace and followed beside her. You scared me to death. Lu Xiaoyu wiped the sweat off her forehead. God knows how flustered I was when I was scolding Lu Shuiyu. Yi Qing Luo laughed lightly. At this time, Lu Xiaoyu still stood by her side unconditionally and spoke out to protect her. This action made Yi Qing Luo feel warmth in her heart. Are you really not afraid of the faculty council coming to find trouble with you? Seeing Yi Qing Luo's relaxed and contented expression, Lu Xiaoyu asked curiously. Haven't they found enough trouble? Yi Qing Luo scoffed. Next, let's just watch them bite each other. They probably won't have the time to find trouble with me. She intentionally transferred Lu Shuiyu's agreed request to Yi Qingqian, in order to arouse Yi Qingqian's hatred towards Lu Shuiyu. And before she took out the wooden token, she gave Lu Shuiyu a hint. This hint, Lu Shuiyu naturally thought that she had been used by Yi Qingqian. Chapter 258. Dog biting dog. Lu Xiaoyu glanced at the two people who left one after the other, as she suddenly realized something. I was just saying, you could have taken the opportunity to teach Lu Shuiyu a lesson, but you actually changed it to Yi Qingqian, so... Ha ha ha. Those two people were a united front to deal with Yi Qing Luo. But after what Yi Qing Luo did, these two people were blaming each other. How would they continue to cooperate? Lu Xiaoyu was totally in awe of Yi Qing Luo. She easily targeted Lu Shuiyu and Yi Qingqian's Achilles heel, one by one. For a proud lady like Lu Shuiyu, today was probably the first time she lowered her head and apologized to a new student. And it was in front of so many students. Lu Shuiyu's pride had definitely suffered a blow. Of course, Lu Shuiyu didn't care about her own reputation. But she cared about Si Yanmu, cared about the faculty council which Si Yanmu cared about. The faculty council's reputation, after today, would probably drop significantly. Si Yanmu's reputation as the president would more or less be affected. To Lu Shuiyu, this was the real punishment. As for Yi Qingqian, who was known as the #1 beauty in Three Springs City, was punished to wash the latrine for 3 days. If this reputation spread, Yi Qingqian would be a joke no matter where she went. Especially concerned about her own reputation, Yi Qingqian, who always pretended to be a white lotus. Her reputation was ruined. To be ridiculed, this to her, was the heaviest punishment. Trained, there's a tough battle in the afternoon, hurry up. Yi Qing Luo adjusted her breathing and gradually increased her speed. Lu Xiaoyu sighed softly. Yi Qing Luo was allocated to Devil Class, and would report to Devil Class in the afternoon. Although Devil Class was a rubbish class, with Yi Qing Luo's ability, it shouldn't be a problem. But after all, Devil Class could make all the students stay away from it, and it was so mysterious that even the academy students didn't know who was in Devil Class. And staying in the waste class for so long, those students' tempers, was definitely very weird. If Yi Qing Luo first entered Devil Class. To integrate into Devil Class, it would indeed be a tough battle. The two of them didn't continue chatting, and started to run faster. After 10 rounds, Yi Qing Luo felt extremely tired. Last night, she fought with the magical beasts, and fought with Leng Fenghua, before advancing. After a sleepless night, she was already exhausted. After 10 laps, Yiqing Luo's whole body was heavy and she couldn't wait to fall into bed and sleep. Go to the training ground first and repeat the movements you arranged yesterday. After that, go back to the dormitory to rest. Instructor Ho's voice came from behind. He could tell that Yiqing Luo was exhausted. After 10 rounds inside the square, there were still people standing. Till now, there was only Yiqing Luo. Instructor Ho couldn't help but want to see how far this new student, whose physique and strength were out of this world, could go. Lu Xiaoyu, who had finished her 7th lap, was stretching her limbs and panting as she walked over. When she heard Instructor Ho's words, she was dumbfounded. Double? Isn't that too cruel? Today, Yiqing Luo had doubled her running speed. The rest of the training had to be done again. No matter how powerful Yiqing Luo was, she was still a human. How could he endure such torment? Instructor Ho didn't say a word, only looking at Yiqing Luo. His cold and stiff face revealed some determination. Student Yi, can you do it? Chapter 259. A person's potential was limitless. As long as she had a firm belief and will, any difficulty would not be a problem. In her previous life, Yiqing Luo had experienced much more tiring and difficult training than now. In this different world, she had no right to say no if she wanted to become stronger. As long as she persevered, what awaited her would be a bright future. I'll go to the training ground first. After that, Yiqing Luo lifted her heavy footsteps and walked towards the direction of the freshman training ground. Lu Xiaoyu took a breath and followed from behind. Wait for me, I'll go too. Instructor Ho stared at Yiqing Luo's departing figure and slowly narrowed his eyes. His eyes were full of admiration. Why, are you interested in this young lady? Instructor Chu walked over from behind and put one hand on Instructor Ho's shoulder, the corner of his mouth raised into a smile. Instructor Ho was expressionless, but the admiration in his eyes was obvious. I seem to see hope in her. Yes. She herself is a person full of hope. Instructor Chu chuckled. Her eyes are very firm and she also has a strong willpower. Such a student will definitely have a place in the Nirvana realm in the future. They had been teaching freshmen for decades and this was the first time they met a freshman like Yiqing Luo. She was obviously arrogant, but this was a temperament that belonged solely to her. It would only make people appreciate her flamboyance more and more. From Yiqing Luo, they could see the light of hope. It seemed that there was nothing in this world that could trouble her. After a set of double the training, Yiqing Luo had completely overdrawn all her physical strength. Immediately, Yiqing Luo fell on the training ground. Her limbs were wide open and she was panting heavily. Her vision was almost black, her whole body was heavy and exhausted, completely not like her own body. A group of freshmen who were sweating all looked at this strong-willed woman. Ordinary women, no matter how hard and tired they were, would try their best to maintain the characteristics of a woman in front of everyone. Who would be like Yiqing Luo, directly lying on the ground, completely ignoring the gaze of others? Especially, Yiqing Luo was covered in sweat, lying on the ground, damn charming. Even the female students couldn't stop their little hearts from thumping non-stop. Yiqing Luo closed her eyes as she quietly adjusted her breathing, allowing her body and mind to completely relax. The after effects of overexerting his strength appeared in every muscle of his body. Her entire body was aching, and it was difficult for her to even raise her hand. Suddenly, his face turned cold. She abruptly opened her eyes and was met with a pair of indifferent eyes. Have a cup of water. The young man was holding the cup and placed it on Yiqing Luo's face. Seeing that she had opened her eyes, he passed the cup to Yiqing Luo. It was Qi Yijing. Yiqing Luo didn't stand on ceremony as she received the cup and drained it in one gulp. After double the training, her mouth was already dry, but her body was so tired that she didn't want to move even half a finger. Why are you working so hard? Training has to be done step by step, right? Qi Yijing glanced at Yiqing Luo. He was curious why this woman would work so hard to complete all the training. She was already the most outstanding one among all the new students. Chapter 260. It's important to consolidate the foundation, but it's also important to strike a balance between work and rest. Qi Yijing sat down against the wall. If you can't do it, take a break. There will be another chance. If you die of exhaustion in this training ground, you won't even have the chance to complete it. Yiqing Luo placed the back of her hand on her eyes. I understand. She just didn't want to give up easily. What she could do in her past life, she could do it now. What she couldn't do in her previous life, in this strange world, she, who could cultivate profound qi, must do it. Qi Yijing frowned slightly, glanced sideways, and stared deeply at the woman lying next to him. After blocking the pair of enchanting eyes, her face actually looked exceptionally pure and sweet, and much more tender. From the first day in the inner ring of the square, Dong Huanglang had his eyes on this girl. Dong Huanglang always mentioned Yiqing Luo. Mentioning her perseverance, mentioning her pair of eyes that were always full of determination. It was as if seeing her gave people hope. Because of this, Qi Yijing also paid some attention to Yiqing Luo. Qi Yijing was staring at Yiqing Luo when his shoulders suddenly felt heavy. A tall body, pressed on his shoulder, brought a strong stench of sweat and the sticky feeling of sweat. Qi Yijing didn't even frown, just faintly took out a towel and passed it behind him. What are you guys talking about? Dong Huanglang raised a teasing smile. Jing, staring at student Yi without blinking, could it be? Seeing student Ye's beauty, you're attracted. Don't talk nonsense. Qi Yijing's eyes slightly sunk, turned his head, stood up, and smashed the towel in his hand, hard on his head. His two hands wiped the sweat on Dong Huanglang's hair and face, and scolded in a low voice, between the two of us, you can talk nonsense at will. Classmate Yi is a girl, a single joke will ruin her reputation. Dong Huanglang calmly sat on the ground, closed his eyes, and enjoyed Qi Yijing wiping the sweat on his body. It could be seen that these two people usually got along like this. Student Yi, you have to report to the devil class in the afternoon, are you afraid? Dong Huanglang kicked Yiqing Luo's calf and asked. Yiqing Luo opened her eyes and squinted at Dong Huanglang. Why should I be afraid? I heard that the students of the devil class are a bunch of lunatics. Dong Huanglang turned his head and told them what he had heard. The devil class consists of the batch of new students who have been eliminated after the training. They do not have much strength and were allocated to the trash class. All of them have weird personalities and have scared away quite a few masters. When Dong Huanglang said this, he deliberately lowered his voice to create a terrifying atmosphere. Moreover, I don't know what method the devil class used to separate the class from the academy. It said that in recent years, the entire academy, including the teachers, have never seen the students from the devil class. Yiqing Luo's brows rose slightly as she leaned against the wall and climbed up. Haven't seen him in recent years. Is the academy sure that the devil class still exists? The devil class is a trash class. Naturally, the academy is not willing to spend manpower and financial resources on the devil class. Therefore, in recent years, the academy has treated the devil class as if it doesn't exist. Every half a year after the recruitment of new students, if they meet unqualified students, they will throw them into the devil class. It's strange that the students who were thrown in either left the academy in a deranged state, or never saw that student again. So, this devil class is quite strange. Yiqing Luo lowered her eyelids as her eyes gradually sunk. Listening to this devil class, it seemed a little interesting. Originally thought that it was just an ordinary trash class, she did not expect it to be so mysterious. Chapter 261. Of course, as the saying goes, a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. During the first training, you spoke up for us brothers, so you are our friend. Dong Huang Lang waved his hand nonchalantly. Student Yi, with your strength, as long as you report to the principal, you can definitely transfer to the high profound class. Saying that, he propped his hands on the ground, his clear eyes stared straight at Yi Qing Luo. Student Yi, let's go to the principal to plead for you. No need. Yi Qing Luo lightly hooked her pink lips, gentle emotions flowed between her brows. You know you are doing this for my own good, it's all right. This smile made Dong Huang Lang's eyes blurred for a moment. Classmate Yi was truly incomparably beautiful. Every smile and frown revealed a charm that could captivate one's soul. It was until Qi Yijing frowned and coughed dryly, that Dong Huang Lang suddenly regained his senses. He foolishly touched his head and smiled, lowering his head shyly. In order to avoid the topic, Dong Huang Lang immediately followed up Yi Qing Luo's words. How could it be all right? The devil class is full of waste. Such an outstanding student like you should not go to the devil class. Waste? Yi Qing Luo's smile gradually deepened, revealing her enchanting charm. The Heavenly Academy is known as the best academy. The admission assessment is especially complicated. You have experienced it yourself, so you should understand. If you do not have the corresponding strength, how could you possibly pass the admission assessment? When the two heard this, they were both stunned. No one is born waste, at least those who pass the admission assessment are the best among the ordinary people, just a little inferior compared to the academy's elite. Entering the devil class does not mean that you are waste. The days ahead are so long, who knows what will become. At least for the past 10 years, I am a waste without any profound chi foundation, but now, I am standing in the Heavenly Academy's training ground, isn't it? Dong Huang Lang's eyes widened in astonishment, and only reacted after a long while. Devil class was classified as the trash class, so everyone in the class were all labeled as trash. Over time, no one remembered that they had once relied on their own strength to enter the Heavenly Academy. This was the first time someone said so righteously that the people in devil class were not trash. Yi Qing Luo slowly stood up, her charming eyes were filled with determination. I've always believed in this sentence, whether I'm a waste or not, it's not up to any of you to say it. Only when we say it ourselves will it count. What a good saying. Qi Yijing's eyes lit up. There seemed to be a sense of pride in his heart that gradually spread. He laughed and hugged Dong Huang Lang. His face was always cold, but when he smiled, the lines of his face looked extremely soft. No one can arbitrarily determine the life of others, and no one can trample on the dignity of others. Why did they have to be linked with trash after entering the devil class? Have the students of the devil class ever admitted that they were trash? Those who arbitrarily decide other people's lives are the real scum, the real trash. As long as he believed that he was not trash and had not given up on himself, then he was definitely not trash. Alright, I have to report to class in a while. I'll go back and change into my uniform first. Yi Qing Luo's entire body was sticky and tired. She didn't say anything more to them, dragged her sore and weak body and left the training ground. Perhaps she was too tired. Yi Qing Luo didn't notice that at the entrance of the training ground, there was an unprepossessing young man in uniform, staring at her leaving figure. Chapter 262. Yi Qing Luo tidied herself up and didn't have any time to rest before it was time to report to the class. Lu Xiaoyu's slightly nervous call came from outside the door. Yi Qing Luo soaked her sweaty uniform in the water, wiped her hands and got up. Just as she was about to open the door, Chi suddenly ran out from the void and jumped onto the bed. It took out a jade bottle from under the pillow. Ow ow! Yi Qing Luo saw the pill bottle and remembered that the gentleman with the surname Chu had sent a follower to give her the pill yesterday. As her natal battle pet, Chi could feel her physical exhaustion. So it specially came out from the void to remind her to take the pill. Qing Luo, are you not done yet? I'm going to report to see the master soon, I'm so nervous. Lu Xiaoyu urged anxiously outside the door. Qing Luo took a pill and threw the bottle on the bed, opened the door and walked out. Lu Xiaoyu stood at the door, her hands clutching her uniform, her face full of nervousness. These few days, Lu Xiaoyu was always by her side. In Qing Luo's eyes, she was the kind of person who was completely fearless. The current Lu Xiaoyu had some feeling of a new lease of life. Don't worry, you have met the standard of Intermediate Profound Class 2 in all the assessments. Qing Luo rubbed her little head. Not only the students have to compete, there is also competition between the masters. What they compete with is the elite students they bring out. As long as you stay in the Intermediate Profound Class 2, the masters will not treat you badly if they want results. Yes. It's all competition, these masters are also competing to receive gifts. Lu Xiaoyu pouted and looked a little unhappy. I don't know how many gifts Shengguan Liuli has given to the headmaster. Receive gifts. Qing Luo narrowed her eyes. It seemed that gift-giving had never been conventional since ancient times. You don't have to worry about Shengguan Liuli for now. If she makes a move on you, just tell me. Qing Luo looked at the sky and dragged Lu Xiaoyu's arm out of the dormitory. I'm not afraid of her. If she dares to touch me, I'll beat her until her parents can't recognize her. Lu Xiaoyu clenched her fists and snorted coldly. The reason why she would vent her anger on you is probably because of me. After all, she has a brother from the high profound class. It's better to be careful. For a lady like Shengguan Liuli, she would absolutely not let go of any chance to strike Qing Luo. The two of them walked out of the dormitory side by side. Devil Class and Intermediate Profound Class 2 were heading in different directions. Qing Luo comforted Lu Xiaoyu with a few words and after sending her off with her eyes, she then followed the map and searched for the direction of Devil Class. Following the map, the number of students walking to and fro on both sides gradually decreased. The surrounding environment also became more and more secluded. Finally, she stopped at the very corner of the academy, outside an extremely spacious courtyard. Raising his head, he saw a plaque hanging crookedly above the courtyard. Devil Class. Every class in the Heavenly Academy had its own courtyard. This was the biggest courtyard Qing Luo had ever seen. But it was precisely because it was so big that Qing Luo felt that the entire courtyard seemed extremely desolate and cold. When a gust of wind blew, it could even swirl up the broken leaves on the ground. The periphery, which had not been cleaned all year round, was covered with cobwebs and was even more dilapidated than the abandoned courtyard which Qing Luo stayed in the Three Springs sect. These few days, when she passed by other classes' courtyards, they were all filled with flowers and plants, looking extremely elegant. But when it came to Devil Class, it was this scene. Chapter 263. Qing Luo pushed open the courtyard door and walked in. The branches on the ground creaked as she stepped on them. In the quiet and desolate courtyard, it seemed extremely strange. Qing Luo frowned slightly as she took one step at a time, walking very slowly. Along the way, no matter how careful Qing Luo was, her clothes were stained with some spider webs. Finally she reached the second courtyard door and Qing Luo's hand had just touched the door when she froze. She smelled an extremely light medicinal smell. Qing Luo's brows knitted even tighter as she retracted her hand. There was actually a medicinal smell on this door handle. Moreover, there was an extremely unfamiliar medicinal smell which she couldn't smell, so what medicinal herb was it? Wait a minute. There was someone. This thought had just surfaced in Qing Luo's mind when Chi on her shoulder had already stood up with its fur standing up as it growled softly and stared at that door. There was someone behind the second door. As a sacred beast, Chi-Chi's perceptive ability was above Yi-Ching Luo's. Was it a devil class's student? Yi-Ching Luo's expression sunk slightly as she slowly retreated a few steps. Just as her feet moved by half an inch, a swoosh sound was heard and a round object flew towards her. Yi-Ching Luo's figure bent backwards as she turned her feet and avoided that thing. She saw that round object pierced into the wall behind her. They were 2 coin darts whose outer rings had been sharpened to an extreme extent. Half of it was embedded into the wall. If these 2 darts were to pierce into her body, then it wouldn't just be half embedded. Yi-Ching Luo steadied herself and stood up straight as she looked towards the direction where the darts came from. She saw the second courtyard door had already been opened and a tall young man stood there as he tossed several gold coin darts in his hands. That face was unattractive and absolutely not pleasing to the eye. But unfortunately, the young man's imposing manner made Yi-Ching Luo take a few more glances at him. Freshman. The young man's eyes were like a wild beast as he sized up Yi-Ching Luo as his lips curled into a sly sneer. Yi-Ching Luo frowned but her expression remained unchanged. Yes. The young man suddenly kept the gold coin darts in his palm and clapped his hands. Brothers, come out and welcome the new student. His words had just ended when 7 to 8 people surrounded that desolate courtyard. Their faces were filled with curiosity and curiosity. Some of them stared at Yi-Ching Luo and licked their lips from time to time, with a drooling look. New student. We haven't had a new student in a long time. It's rare to see a new student, and such a beautiful one at that. I wonder if the class monitor will like her if I send her to him. Bah! What kind of person was the class leader? How could he possibly fall for such a woman? The few of them stared at Yi-Ching Luo and discussed for some time before they heard the young man at the door saying, "Let the new student feel our welcome to her properly." The few of them immediately leapt up like wild beasts, pouncing towards Yi-Ching Luo. Damn it! Yi-Ching Luo couldn't help but cursed in her heart. Who would welcome a new student in such a way? This momentum was clearly the rhythm of wanting to kill her. Yi-Ching Luo's figure swiftly retreated backwards as her footwork revolved, deftly evading those few people. Being surrounded by those people, she couldn't fight back at all. These people were watching him from all directions. Those few people pounced on empty air as a sliver of astonishment flashed past their eyes. As though they had not expected that the new student who had been allocated to the devil class could actually evade the aid of them simultaneous encirclement. Chapter 264. Those bursts of profound chi were getting more and more intense. Yi-Ching Luo was slightly stunned as her vision revolved around their chests. On seeing the light emitted from their profound jade heart, her eyes widened in astonishment. Her heart was in a mess as though 10,000 alpacas were running wildly. Damn it! What happened to the trash class? Among these 8 people, the lowest mystic rank was Mystic rank 3. The highest was Mystic Profound 9th grade. The academy was certain that these people were the last few in the recruitment of new students. Were they certain that this was the devil class which was labeled as trash? If these people were all trash, then those students from the lower and intermediate classes would be a joke. Yi-Ching Luo scoffed lightly as her lips curled into a cold arc of ridicule. She really didn't know how Heavenly Academy became the best academy. Those people from the elder quarters were all blind. They actually allocated these talents to the devil class. However, Yi-Ching Luo's smile, in everyone's eyes, was ridiculing them. Instantly their eyes were filled with anger as they recalled the class monitor's instructions. Without any mercy, they attacked towards Yi-Ching Luo's direction at the same time. Yi-Ching Luo's footwork was strange as her feather fan flipped a few times on her fingertips and shot out a burst of biting cold profound chi. That profound chi followed the movements of Yi-Ching Luo's fingers and turned into a whirlwind as it revolved around those 8 people. Immediately following that, her palm moved and rolled up the withered yellow leaves on the ground. A gust of airflow rose from Yiqing Luo's feet as an intense gale swept up Yiqing Luo's uniform. Her long dress fluttered in the wind, and the green and white academy uniform on her body seemed exceptionally beautiful on her. The lady's eyes were enchanting and her eyes were as bright as the stars, sparkling with a charming glint. Her palm flipped and those pieces of leaves turned into sharp blades as it flew towards those 8 people. Those 8 people's eyes were filled with shock as they wanted to evade, but Yiqing Luo's fingers which were holding onto her feather fan tightened. The few of them totally couldn't move as though they were bound by something. As the 8 of them struggled, they discovered that the whirlwind which Yiqing Luo had stirred up had coincidentally trapped the few of them within it. This strand of profound energy had firmly blocked their path. By the time they struggled free from the restraints of this profound qi, those pieces of sharp leaves came flying towards them. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, a few gold coin darts flew past those 8 people and coincidentally knocked down all the leaves that Yiqing Luo's palm wind brought up. The youth standing at the door took a few steps and stood in front of the 8 people. The 8 of them were panting heavily as their fists were clenched tightly and the green veins on their foreheads were popping out, as they had the morale to fight with Yiqing Luo once again. Mystic Profound Rank 4. The young man narrowed his eyes and curled his fingers. The money darts that were stuck on the wall and the ground quickly returned to his palm. Yiqing Luo's eyes suddenly narrowed as she stared at the young man in astonishment. He could actually see her profound rank. Could it be that he also had the ability to see through her profound jade heart? With your profound rank, you can at least enter the intermediate profound class. How did you get assigned to the devil class? The youth didn't seem to notice her doubts and directly asked the question he wanted to ask. Your profound grade shouldn't be in the devil class, so why are you in the devil class? Yiqing Luo raised her brows and asked. The young man remained silent for a while as he stared at Yiqing Luo's gaze, revealing a strange probing and sizing her up. The few people behind him had suffered under Yiqing Luo's hands earlier and were fuming. Vice Class Monitor. Why are you wasting your breath on her? Just kill her and throw her away. Chapter 265. Those 8 people's faces were like frosted eggplants as they clenched their teeth tightly, not uttering a single word. After all, they had indeed suffered a loss in Yiqing Luo's hands earlier. No matter what method Yiqing Luo used, a loss was a loss. If it wasn't for the assistant class monitor's help, their necks would have been severed by those leaves. Since the welcome is over, can I go in now? Yiqing Luo looked at the assistant class monitor. This young man was obviously the leader of these people. Yes. The assistant class monitor moved his body aside. The second door was open and Yiqing Luo looked in. It was a totally different environment from this desolate outer courtyard. It was a spacious training ground and there were 2 weapon racks placed outside the ground. There were all kinds of weapons on top. On the ground, there was a huge devil word carved using profound qi. Yiqing Luo laughed lightly. As expected. This devil class was like the class of gods, hidden so mysteriously that even those teachers in the academy might not know what students were in the devil class. This was enough to prove that the devil class was extraordinary. Those masters and elders who treated the devil class as trash, if they knew that they had lost some students of the mystic rank and their abilities were considered to be above average, how upset would they be? Yiqing Luo walked over and when she passed by the second door, her footsteps suddenly stopped. The cunning smile on the assistant president's face froze on his face. Yiqing Luo's nose was filled with that faint herbal smell. No wonder they gave up their positions so readily. No wonder they had scared away several teachers in the devil class. This kind of welcome, if it was an ordinary person, they would not be able to take it. Is this your new way of welcoming new students? Yiqing Luo ridiculed as her lips twitched. A trace of astonishment flashed past the assistant class monitor's eyes as he laughed loudly. How did you detect it? Smell. Yiqing Luo pointed at her own nose. You can try next time, change it to a drug that will make you fall for it, to welcome new students. You're also an alchemist. The assistant class monitor stared at Yiqing Luo with interest. You can say so. Her current alchemy level had been neglected for a long time. The assistant class monitor laughed loudly as he took out a handkerchief from his sleeve and threw it to one of the men behind him. The man took the handkerchief and walked over to wipe the doorknob and threshold. Congratulations on joining the devil class. Vice class monitor stretched out his hand towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo swept a glance at his palm as her lips curled up slightly, revealing an enchanting smile. Congratulations to the both of you, for having one more companion. Vice class monitor wasn't angry because of Yiqing Luo's refusal to shake his hand, as he didn't feel awkward at all as he retracted his hand. Hearing Yiqing Luo's words, a mysterious smile surfaced on his face. I hope so. This hope, what the hell was this? The meaning was, and a welcoming gift for new students. One stage after another, this was even more difficult than the academy entrance examination. Yiqing Luo's mouth twitched a few times. Just tell me what else you have behind, or call your class monitor out. If you can make a move, don't talk nonsense, don't waste both parties' time. As soon as these words came out, the young man and the 8 people behind him revealed looks of horror. You want to fight the class leader? This female student was too arrogant. Who's our class leader? Do you think you can do it whenever you want? Among the 8 people, the only female spat disdainfully. She was the one who said Yiqing Luo was just a superficial person. From her tone, one could tell that this lady admired the class monitor a lot. Chapter 266. Who was the class monitor they were talking about? From the looks of it, he was very popular. Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased slightly as she revealed some impatience. Either you cancel the welcoming ceremony or you get the class monitor to come out directly. You guys are acting like a lady in your bedroom, dawdling around. Even if you don't find it troublesome, I find it troublesome. No matter where it was, the strong were revered and ability was the law. Devil classes students weren't willing to accept her. Then she could only start from their most revered class monitor. If she won, these students would naturally be docile and docile. If she lost, then it didn't matter. Anyway, she was a freshman. At most, she would just accept another wave of warm welcoming ceremony. You. That lady's expression suddenly sunk as she raised her hand and released a burst of profound chi. That profound chi was as swift as lightning as it swiftly struck towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a smile as she waved her feather fan lightly. A coquettish red glow bloomed as it directly collided with that burst of profound chi. Boom! A loud sound was heard. That lady's body was flung out heavily as she fell onto the courtyard's training grounds. One sentence, simple and direct. Let me in if you want to fight. Yiqing Luo kept her feather fan as the coquettish glint in her eyes flashed with a cold glint. These people were already used to the pattern of the strong being revered. Yiqing Luo couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with them as she directly killed the chicken to warn the monkey. She could only blame that lady for making a move on her at this moment. Then she couldn't be blamed for not knowing how to have tender and protective feelings for the fairer sex. By she. The other 7 people saw that the lady was injured as they immediately rushed into the training grounds. Yiqing Luo seemed as though she didn't see anything as she continued staring at Vice Class Monitor with a smile which didn't look like a smile, waiting for his answer. There were only the 2 of them in the desolate outer courtyard. The wind blew and the withered yellow leaves were like butterflies dancing as they revolved around the both of them. Yiqing Luo's green and white uniform fluttered in the wind. Under the contrast of the butterflies like leaves, it had a unique charm. However, this beautiful scene was completely ruined by the Vice Class Monitor. His arms were crossed as he didn't turn his head to look at that lady's condition in the training grounds. His beast-like eyes shone with a mysterious glint. His unprepossessing face became even more sinister. The two of them stared at each other, and there was a surging undercurrent in their eyes. After a while, the vice-class monitor's smile deepened. "I've already saved you the trouble of receiving the class monitor. As for fighting with him, there's no need at all." After saying that, he turned around and walked through the second door. What does that mean? There's no need to fight anymore. Did that mean they had accepted her as a new student? Yiqing Luo's brows creased slightly as she followed closely behind assistant class monitor. Even the footsteps he took overlapped with the vice squad leader's footprints. Yiqing Luo had just entered the inner courtyard when the door behind her closed with a pang sound. Yiqing Luo was so shocked that she turned back to take a look. The courtyard door had been locked and only the devil class's students would be able to open it. After entering the inner courtyard, Yiqing Luo scanned the surroundings and instantly felt the true meaning of a completely different world. The inner courtyard's training ground was extremely spacious, about the size of the freshman's training ground. There was another long road ahead. The school is over there. Vice class monitor saw Yiqing Luo staring straight ahead as he reminded, although devil class doesn't have any teachers to teach, but you must report to the school on time every day. Yiqing Luo nodded her head thoughtfully. In that case, Teacher Gue, you had not reported to the devil class. Chapter 267. Yiqing Luo roughly understood the general rules of devil class from the assistant class monitor. This assistant class monitor was called Xiao Jin and he had been in devil class for 3 years. The learning situation in devil class was exactly the same as the other classes. Other than the freshmen, all the students in devil class had to train in this training ground. Because the freshmen had to go through 1 month's mandatory freshman training when they entered the Heavenly Academy. The other classes and rest times were no different from the other classes. Who is the class monitor that you mentioned? Yiqing Luo asked curiously. According to the news that Dong Huanglang had gathered, devil class had only started to disappear in recent years and was mysterious and unfathomable. Presumably, the reason should be because of this class monitor. This class monitor was revered by all the students in the class and was able to drive all the students to maintain the same training as the other classes. This class monitor, what kind of person was he? Yiqing Luo's interest was piqued. Xiao Jin gave a mysterious smile but didn't reply. At this moment, those few people in the training ground stared gloomily at Yiqing Luo. Bai Shi has fainted. Earlier the lady who made a move on Yiqing Luo was called Dan Bai Shi. 2 years ago she was allocated to devil class and had fallen in love with the class monitor at first sight and was totally his loyal fan. The people surrounding her were all the students who had been allocated to devil class in these few years. These people had experienced life and death together and their relationship was like biological siblings. Now that they saw Dan Bai Shi fainted by Yiqing Luo, the anger in their hearts surged up once again. A cultivator can't even take such a small injury, her body is too weak. Yiqing Luo's vision swept past Dan Bai Shi's face. This lady's face was pale without any color of blood and the tight-fitting uniform made her figure look extremely slender. Her body is too weak and she needs to train hard to consolidate her body's quality. When Yiqing Luo's words fell, those few gloomy and sullen faces revealed an astonished expression. A skinny young man lowered his eyes and looked at Dan Bai Shi who was lying in his arms as he clicked his tongue. Class monitor also said the same thing. Sheet, why did she say the same thing as class monitor? The few of them shook their heads. Xiao Jin's pitch-black eyes were filled with a probing intent. He habitually touched the coin dart. All right, send Bai Shi back to her room and let Lulu take a look at her. With that said, he tossed the coin dart in his hand into the air and caught it. He looked towards Yiqing Luo and smiled with interest. go and report to the class first. I'm sure there are quite a number of students who are interested in the newcomer. Yiqing Luo could tell that the meaning behind his words was very strange as the corners of her eyes twitched a few times. Don't tell me, the reception hasn't ended yet? Our welcoming ceremony has ended, but it doesn't mean that the other students are willing to end it. F***ck, Yiqing Luo's entire being was in a mess. Just how many students were there in the devil class? Could it be that they were not the representatives sent by the students? Might as well call the class leader out and fight. This was the simplest method. However, Qiao Jin totally didn't bother about her as he directly pointed out a route, telling Yiqing Luo how to report to the academy and left with those few people carrying Dan Baishi. Crossing the training ground and walking along the small path, roughly half a quarter of an hour later, the third door appeared in front of Yiqing Luo's eyes. From that tightly shut door, Yiqing Luo could still hear the noise from inside. It was a noisy mess. Chapter 268. The lights in the classroom were brightly lit and there were about 40 over students who were playing around happily. When Yiqing Luo pushed the door and entered, everyone's gazes merely swept past her before they retracted their gazes and continued to play around. Yiqing Luo acutely sensed that when these people looked at her, their gazes were filled with a sense of gloating. Right now, it was merely the calm before the storm. What made Yiqing Luo most astonished was that there were so many students in this devil class. In the entire classroom, there were about 70 over tables and chairs and there were quite a number of empty seats. Yiqing Luo swept a glance across the classroom and her gaze was fixed on the last row of the classroom, at the corner. All the tables and chairs were neatly lined up, except for that one table and chair, which was alone in the corner. Yiqing Luo didn't think too much as she directly walked over and sat down. Instantly, the bustling classroom fell into a dead silence. All the students' gazes were all fixed on Yiqing Luo. Their expressions were filled with disbelief and astonishment, as their mouths opened into an O shape. There were even some students who lost their footing due to the shock and fell onto the ground, staring blankly at Yiqing Luo, forgetting to climb up. The baptism of these gazes made Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased slightly as she lowered her eyes to look at herself. There wasn't any place which was worthy of their attention. Could it be that the place which she was sitting at was not right? At this moment, a skinny, malnourished young lady who was huddled in the corner walked over. She endured the gazes from the others as she reminded her softly, "New student, this is Sir Class Monitor's place. You'd better get up quickly, otherwise these people will teach you a harsh lesson." That legendary class monitor's position. No wonder there was a table and chair alone in the corner. Coming to other people's turf, Yiqing Luo wasn't that kind of brainless arrogant person. Moreover, she was very curious about the identity of this revered class monitor. Because of this, Yiqing Luo didn't insist on sitting here forcefully. Just as she was about to stand up, a biting cold palm wind suddenly came from the side of her cheek. Yiqing Luo was astute as she evaded sideways. That palm wind hit empty air and with a boom, a clear 5-finger print was imprinted on the wall. "Lowly trash, who allowed you to sit in Sir Class Monitor's place? You've dirted Sir Class Monitor's seat." A tall lady slammed the table fiercely as she stood up. Her expression was cold, completely different from Lu Shuiyu's. Her coldness exuded a domineering aura. Yiqing Luo was about to get up and leave her seat when her slender brows creased slightly. She was planning to leave this position. But that didn't mean she liked being forced to leave her position. This woman didn't allow for any explanation and started to make a move, so Yiqing Luo didn't intend to get up. The frail young lady who stood in front of her trembled as her voice trembled, "Sister Ziqing. She's a new student, and doesn't know the rules of the devil class. Can you give her a chance?" Before she could finish her sentence, a student walked up impatiently and pushed the young lady away. Ni Rupin, you haven't even completed your own mission, and you're already thinking of helping your new classmate. If you want to help, you have to see if you have the ability to. The girl named Ni Rupin was pushed to the ground. She shrunk back and bit her lower lip, but she still stubbornly said, "Big Sister Ziqing. I beg you, don't punish the new student." Chapter 269. Yiqing Luo frowned. Devil classes students were all profound grade, she knew it when she was in the outer courtyard. But she didn't expect the devil classes students to insult their classmates as waste. Although Ni Ruopan ran out herself to speak up for her. But after all, Ni Ruopan did it for her. Yiqing Luo naturally wouldn't abandon Ni Ruopan. Lowly waste, get up. The lady stared at Yiqing Luo rudely, seeing that she was still sitting on the class monitor's seat, her gaze turned colder. Yiqing Luo placed one hand on the table, a chilly glint appeared in her eyes. "Let me get up." "Sure. But first, apologize to her." Saying that, she pointed at Ni Ruopan who was curled up on the ground. Ni Ruopan's face instantly turned pale as she waved her hands. No need, new student, get up quickly, if the class monitor is here, you will be punished." Yiqing Luo glanced sideways at Ni Ruopan, "Shut up." Ni Ruopan's unfinished words were stuck in her throat. This freshman had such a strong aura. Absolutely not inferior to Tong Ziqing. Just one look at her and she felt cold all over, not daring to say another word. Ni Ruopan slowly loosened her lower lip as she stared blankly at Yiqing Luo, lost in thought. Yiqing Luo's pink lips curled into a coquettish arc, her fingertips moved slightly and the energy from her feather fan lifted Ni Ruopan up. "Waste?" Yiqing Luo raised her brows as she looked at Tong Ziqing in ridicule. "This student, as the same class student, if she is waste, then what are you?" Tong Ziqing's face suddenly darkened. The other students' expressions were extremely ugly. Sitting on their most respected class monitor seat, she actually dared to insult their goddess. This new student was too arrogant. "She's a waste, she can't even complete a simple task assigned by the class monitor, isn't she a waste?" Among the dozens of students, someone spoke out in disdain. "You who were allocated to the devil class are also a waste, no wonder you are birds of a feather. Waste attracts waste. Meaning, all of you here, are all waste." Yiqing Luo sneered as her feather fans suddenly opened and a whirlwind flew towards the students. No one had expected Yiqing Luo to make a move. For a moment, no one was prepared. With this momentum, even if he was prepared, he might not be able to avoid it. With a blood-curdling scream, the student who spoke just now was sent flying. "You guys are also students of the devil class, are you all trash? Or is it that in your eyes, as long as you're a student of the devil class, you're associated with trash?" Yiqing Luo slowly stood up as her face was filled with ridicule. "Harboring this kind of thinking, I even feel that it's a waste of time to fight with you." With that, she kicked the table in front of her away. The table flipped a few times in the air before crashing heavily onto the ground. Sawdust and dregs were scattered on the ground. This was their turf and Yiqing Luo originally didn't intend to clash with them. After all, they still had to get along for a period of time in the future. However, it didn't mean that she would let anyone bully her. Yiqing Luo's principle was that she would not offend others if others did not offend her. Since these students had to offend her, and even implicated a female student who was trying to protect her, then she couldn't take it anymore. Yiqing Luo's action was obviously a tight slap on this bunch of students' faces. That was their revered class monitor's table and chair. But it was overturned by this new student. The surrounding students were filled with rage, as though they couldn't wait to tear Yiqing Luo into pieces. "Lowly waste, I will make you pay the price for what you've done." Tong Ziqing's face was filled with gloomy clouds as her palm flipped over and a soft whip appeared in her palm. Chapter 270. Yiqing Luo's heart felt a burning sensation, extremely intense. She narrowed her eyes, and a yellow light emitted from Tong Ziqing's heart. Yellow Great Profound Jade Heart. Profound Jade Heart was divided into 7 grades. The higher the grade, the higher the power and the easier it was to advance to the profound grade. This Yellow Great Profound Jade Heart was ranked 3rd. Like Yiqing Luo's Profound Jade Heart, which was formed by Dmo Xian, it was only ranked 2nd among the Orange Great Profound Jade Heart. As for Yi Fengyu, he had taken the pill which she refined before he broke through to the Orange Great Profound Jade Heart. Yiqing Luo's heart trembled. The gaze which she shot towards Tong Ziqing was filled with deep thoughts. Tong Ziqing was actually a Yellow Great Profound Jade Heart. Why was she allocated to the Devil class? This Devil class was indeed not as simple as it looked on the surface. There were crouching tigers and hidden dragons everywhere. That soft whip in Tong Ziqing's hand was like a living thing. Under Tong Ziqing's control, it quickly wrapped around Yiqing Luo. The strength of the soft whip was extremely strong, giving out a hissing sound in the air. Tong Ziqing was extremely skilled in using the soft whip. As she waved it, the soft whip shot out bursts of flames, not hurting the other students at all. Her target was only Yiqing Luo alone. That soft whip was like a snake, with the power to topple mountains and overturn the seas. It met head-on. The surrounding students were extremely confident in Tong Ziqing's whip skills. Their eyes were filled with gloating smiles. This new student really deserved it. Did she really think the Devil class's students were all trash? A new student who had just arrived dared to be so arrogant, and even dared to smash the class monitor's table. Even if she killed her, it would not be enough to vent the anger in her heart. Let Goddess Tong teach her a good lesson. Teach this new student what was the meaning of, when you're in someone else's territory, obediently tuck your tail between your legs and await punishment. Just as the surrounding students thought that this whip would be able to split Yiqing Luo's skin and flesh. But that soft whip which was heading towards Yiqing Luo with the force of lightning had actually stopped in midair. The scuttling sparks gradually stopped. Tong Ziqing's body froze. The hand which was holding the soft whip suddenly could not move. She was extremely stunned as she looked towards the taut whip. At the other end of the whip, a fair and slender little hand was holding it tightly. The force was so great that Tong Ziqing was actually unable to break free. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up into an enchanting smile. Her charming eyes were overflowing with color. The hand holding the soft whip suddenly moved. The taut whip softened. A powerful force followed the whip and rushed towards Tong Ziqing with a momentum that could swallow mountains and rivers. Tong Ziqing didn't have time to let go and was struck in the chest by the profound energy. His entire body was sent flying. Coincidentally, the door of the hall was pushed open, and a slender figure wearing a black robe walked in. When the surrounding students saw that person, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Tong Ziqing's body flew straight towards that person. The man's elegant brows furrowed slightly. At the same time, a blue figure darted out from behind that person. He leaped up and caught Tong Ziqing. The girl's melodious voice carried a hint of a smile. "Sister Ziqing, why are you in such a sorry state today?" That young lady was petite, but she used one arm to catch Tong Ziqing steadily. Tong Ziqing's face was steely green, as her pair of frosty eyes were filled with unwillingness. She clutched her chest as she struggled out from the young lady's embrace. "Freshman, go to the training ground, let's go again," Tong Ziqing berated in an unyielding tone. She didn't believe that she would actually lose to a freshman. Chapter 271. When Yiqing Luo heard Tong Ziqing's words, she squinted her eyes and said indifferently, "Essence grade also have spiritual qi, and after my profound qi, it has already caused a backlash. If you don't want to live, I don't mind continuing to fight with you at the training grounds." Essence grade and above weapons all had their own spiritual qi. Once the spiritual qi was invaded by a stronger aura, the weapon's spiritual qi would activate its self-protection mode. Earlier Yiqing Luo injected her profound qi into Tong Ziqing's body through the whip. Naturally it would cause a backlash. Tong Ziqing's internal injury was definitely not light. If she insisted on continuing the battle with her with injuries, her life would be in danger. Tong Ziqing naturally understood her own body's condition. That burst of tearing pain in her chest made her unable to concentrate on circulating the profound qi in her profound heart jade. She clasped her chest tightly as she stared coldly at Yiqing Luo. Tong Ziqing knew that what Yiqing Luo said was the truth, but to leave in front of the entire class. What face did she have to continue to stay here? Go back to recuperate. A clear and deep voice was heard from the door. That voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with a kind of dignity which no one could refute. The entire classroom immediately turned silent. "Yes, Sister Ziqing, let Lulu take a look at you later." That blue-robed young lady gave a mischievous smile. "The future is long. After you have recuperated, then continue the battle with this new student, isn't that better?" Hearing the young lady's words, Tong Ziqing's pupils suddenly expanded as she subconsciously looked towards the young man in front. The future is long. These 4 words meant that the class monitor had acknowledged the existence of this new student. That's right, the class monitor admired the strong most. This new student was indeed very strong. Tong Ziqing didn't say another word as she politely nodded towards the person standing at the door, and with the help of the other students, she left the classroom. Yiqing Luo then shifted her vision onto those few people who had just entered. There were a total of 4 people. 2 males and 2 females. Standing in front was a young man, estimated to be around 21 or 22 years old. He was dressed in a black long robe with purple embroidery, a head full of ink black hair was tied up by a purple gold crown, looking extremely elegant. His entire body was encircled with an icy cold aura which kept people away. His handsome face was so handsome that it could suffocate a young girl's heart. What caught Yiqing Luo's attention the most was that pair of azure blue eyes. It was a pair of extremely pure blue eyes. They were clear and moist, and in the blink of an eye, they seemed to be suffused with waves of ripples. The monitor of Devil Class. Needless to guess, Yiqing Luo knew with one look that this person was the class monitor who was revered by the students in Devil Class. He didn't expect the class monitor to be so young. Yiqing Luo recognized the man and woman behind the class monitor. The youth behind the class monitor was Vice Class Monitor Qiao Jin. As for that young lady, she was dressed in a pink long dress and there were 2 pink furry balls hanging on her collar and sleeves. With such a cute personality, wasn't she Yiqing Luo's roommate, Mo Yuing? So, Mo Yuing was a student of the Devil Class. No wonder Shengguan Liuli angrily called her trash the moment she saw her. No wonder she had once said that there were no teachers in her class. However, Yiqing Luo didn't believe that a person with that pair of cold eyes would be a waste. Moreover, for her to be able to stay by the class monitor's side, her status was clearly comparable to Qiao Jin's. It was enough to prove that Yiqing Luo's intuition was right. As for the other blue-robed young lady, she was the young lady who had caught Tong Ziqing earlier. Chapter 272. How interesting. Within Yiqing Luo's body, there seemed to be a pot of hot blood gradually boiling. She believed that in the near future, the growth in this devil class would absolutely be much more than the other classes. To have such a batch of weird characters, but their abilities were all above average. It would definitely be a huge help to her cultivation. Just entered the class and already injured 3 of our classmates. This new student's temper, isn't it a little too bad-tempered? Xiao Jin smiled as he leaned closer to Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo scoffed lightly. Since it's my first time here, I naturally have to send my generous gift. Xiao Jin laughed loudly as he tossed the gold coin darts in his palm. Your character is really similar to Class Monitor, no wonder Class Monitor would specially pay attention to you. The moment he said that, the surrounding students all turned their gazes towards Yiqing Luo. Following that, they all dug their ears in unison, as though they had rehearsed this countless of times. What? Did they hear wrongly? Class Monitor would pay attention to a new student? Vice Class Monitor, she's the new student who said that Devil Class isn't waste and we are all born with talent. The blue-robed young lady blinked her eyes as she quickly walked in front of Yiqing Luo, staring at her with a pair of watery eyes. Seeing Xiao Jin nodding his head, the young lady's gaze flashed as she stared at Yiqing Luo. What you said is right, although we are Devil Class's students, but whether we are waste or not, it's not up to them, but we ourselves have the final say. Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased slightly as her gaze fell onto Xiao Jin. These words were what she said to Dong Huang Lang at the freshman training grounds. Why? Did it spread to the Devil Class? She suddenly recalled that when she left the training grounds, she bumped into a young man whose looks weren't outstanding. It seemed. Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes as she stared at Xiao Jin carefully for some time, raised her finger and pointed at him. It's you? Xiao Jin shrugged his shoulders as he gave a non-committal smile. It's because of your words, that moved Class Monitor. Mo Ewing tilted her head as her soft voice was calm. Those words moved Class Monitor. Sit. Without waiting for Yiqing Luo to investigate further, Class Monitor's clear voice was heard. All the students, with lightning speed, swiftly returned to their own seats. Ni Ruopen held her injured arm as she slowly walked to the corner and stood there. In the entire classroom, only the Class Monitor and Yiqing Luo were left standing. New student, feel free to find a place to sit. The class leader's thin lips moved, and the corner of his mouth curved into a faint smile. However, this smile did not reach his eyes. Instead, it caused his entire being to emit a sense of distance that made him feel unapproachable. Yiqing Luo glanced sideways at Ni Ruopan, who was shivering in the corner of the wall. Out of all the students in the Devil Class, only Ni Ruopan seemed to be incompatible with the class. And he was even treated as trash by these students. Seeing how Ni Ruopan was initially afraid of Tong Ziqing, but for her sake, she stubbornly begged Tong Ziqing, Yiqing Luo's heart softened a little. She was not a kind-hearted person, but she was not cold-blooded either. Good to her, she will remember in mind. Yiqing Luo walked directly towards Ni Ruopan and pulled her wrist as she walked towards the empty space in front. Ni Ruopan's shoulders were pressed down forcefully by Yiqing Luo as her buttocks stuck onto the wooden chair. Her entire body was shaking like a sieve. Her originally fair little face had now turned even paler. The surrounding students' expressions instantly turned ugly. New student, Sir Class Monitor asked you to sit, but it doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want. This is a punishment for the weak. She's the last place in the class, so she has no right to sit in class. Ni Ruopan's entire body trembled as her eyes opened wide, as she was so scared that tears started to flow out. Chapter 273. Yiqing Luo's eyes narrowed slightly as her gaze was like a sharp blade. I said to let her sit, so she can sit. Those students who were filled with dissatisfaction were swept by this gaze as their voices were instantly choked in their throats. This freshman was different from the previous freshman. To be able to defeat their goddess Tong, her ability was absolutely strong. Their gazes turned towards the Class Monitor, anticipating that the class monitor would teach the freshman a lesson, to suppress her arrogance. However, the class monitor seemed as though he didn't see this happening as he said calmly, "Today there's a freshman in the class and her ability, I believe everyone has witnessed it for themselves." The students' gazes were filled with reverence as they stared at the class monitor. Because of this freshman has been specially approved to join the class committee. Everyone get along well, and as for the class rules, find some time to tell her. After the class monitor finished this sentence, he turned around and left the classroom. Before he left, his peripheral vision seemed to glance at Yi-Ching Luo. His azure blue eyes were flowing with shallow ripples, as though it contained a deep meaning which no one could understand. After a while, he retracted his vision and walked out of the classroom without turning back. The classroom's main door was slowly shut. A thud sound of the door jolted the students who were already in a daze. After some time, they regained their senses as they stared at Yi-Ching Luo in disbelief. Why is a freshman able to join the class committee? What's her relationship with Sir Class Monitor? Such an unreasonable freshman. Sir Class Monitor actually didn't get angry. The students started to point fingers at Yi-Ching Luo, guessing at her identity. No one doubted the class monitor's decision, but they were all doubting Yi-Ching Luo's identity, doubting if she had the right to stand beside the class monitor. Yi-Ching Luo's slender brows creased slightly. What the hell was the class committee? Why did everyone's gazes become so strange when they heard this news? Ruo Pan, who was still shivering by the side, heaved a sigh of relief until the class monitor left. The class monitor didn't stop her from sitting down, which meant that she could sit and listen to lessons in future. Thinking of this, Ruo Pan's heart calmed down. Seeing Yi-Ching Luo rubbing her chin with a look of deep thoughts, she pressed her chest and said softly, "The class committee is the group that manages this class. There are a total of 4 people." From Ruo Pan's mouth, Yi-Ching Luo found out. The young class monitor was called Long Yunjian. Other than coming to inspect the training results of the students every day, he was rarely seen at other times. Usually, it was the vice class monitor who loitered around the school and guided everyone. As for the class committee, it was the people who managed these students. Just like what Yi-Ching Luo had guessed, Xiao Jin and Nimo Yuing were both members of the class committee. That blue-clothed young lady just now was called Yan Xiaoyi and was also a member of the class committee. The other person was Baiming Lulu, the young master of the Miracle Doctor clan. In the usual training or group duels, even if they were beaten half to death, as long as they still had a breath left, Baiming Lulu could use her magical medical skills to bring them back from the gates of hell. You've just arrived and you're able to join the class committee. Class monitor must think highly of you. Ruo Pan looked at Yi-Ching Luo in adoration. She had not expected this freshman to be so powerful. Highly regarded. Yi-Ching Luo's squinted eyes reflected a piercingly cold glint. She didn't believe that Long Yunjian would entrust such an important task to her without understanding her at all. Rather than saying highly regarded, it should be said that he had another motive. Sister Ziqing had wanted to join the class committee for a long time, but her ability had never reached the class monitor's requirements. Chapter 274. This lass, in this class, was obviously bullied so badly, but she still spoke up for Long Yunjian. Apparently she admired Long Yunjian a lot. The first time they met, Yi-Ching Luo wasn't able to understand Long Yunjian thoroughly. Her heart was filled with curiosity. What kind of charm did Long Yunjian have, to be able to make this class, with all kinds of different characters, so obedient? Thinking back to when she was the Yi family's patriarch, she gave her all for the Yi family, giving up her normal life, but she still wasn't able to make everyone in the family submit to her. Ruo Pan seemed to have seen through Yi-Ching Luo's thoughts. Her lips curled slightly, that pale and frail little face revealed a gentle and shy smile. This smile, made the lines on her face softer. She was indeed a beauty. Although I was allocated to the devil class 2 months ago, but I can feel that the class monitor is the salvation of the devil class. Before the class monitor came to the devil class was really a place where trash gathered. After entering the academy, those who performed badly in the entrance examinations and the freshman training were all thrown to the devil class to fend for themselves. All the students in the academy can bully us, humiliate us, and if they are in a bad mood, they can vent their anger on us anytime. Ruopan pursed her pale lips tightly, both her hands which were placed on her knees, clenched tightly into fists, as though she was recalling her past self. No one will stand up for us, to those outstanding students, trash like us, shouldn't even live in this world. Later on, I came to the devil class. Here, everyone had been treated as trash, all of them had been hurt before, but they are not any worse off than anyone else now. Ruopan's eyes glowed with warmth, filled with hope. I believe I will also become as incredible as them. Yiqing Luo's gaze swept past the surrounding students. From their aura, she could feel that these people were absolutely not trash. Like those 8 people at the entrance earlier, even if they wanted to enter the high profound class, it wasn't impossible. Not to mention Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi. Looked like Long Yunzhan had a special way to guide these people who were once treated as trash. And these people were once bullied, and had always been linked with the word trash. Once someone saved them, they would follow that person for the rest of their lives. Moreover, these people were used to the coldness and warmth of the world. If they were to become stronger, they would definitely be a force that could destroy the world. New student, there's one more important point, the most important sentence, you must remember it. Ruopan suddenly thought of something as both of her hands grabbed onto Yiqing Luo's hands. Her little hands were very thin and weak, and her bones were small and cold. Yiqing Luo was stunned by this sudden action and almost flung Ruopan out. Ruopan clenched her fists tightly, and her eyes were filled with seriousness. You must remember, everything that happens in the devil class must not be divulged to the outside. This is the rule of the devil class. Yiqing Luo nodded her head. She had long guessed this point. If it wasn't for this rule, the devil class wouldn't have been able to remain mysterious for so many years. When these students walked out, each and every one of them had a high profound grade, who would associate them with the devil class. New student, take out your academy's wooden token and badge, I'll inject you into the class. Qiao Jin walked over and stretched out his hand towards Yiqing Luo. Chapter 275. Yiqing Luo took out the badge on her chest and passed it over. Qiao Jin picked up the wooden badge and swept it with his palm. That wooden badge shone brightly and the surrounding students immediately crowded forward to take a look at Yiqing Luo's information. As Qiao Jin's fingers touched Yiqing Luo's academy badge, a golden light flashed and rows of golden characters appeared. Name, Yiqing Luo. Gender, female. Age, 15. Profound grade, yellow profound 9th grade class, devil class. Identity, 3 Springs sex. Young matriarch, Yi family. 7th Miss, yellow profound 9th grade. Yellow profound 9th grade. This freshman is only yellow profound 9th grade. The students who were nearer were all stunned when they saw the profound grade displayed on the wooden badge. When he said that, everyone stared at Yiqing Luo in disbelief. How could this be? How could she possibly be only at yellow profound grade? I thought she was at least above earth profound grade. She's so arrogant. The moment she joined devil class and was even valued by the class monitor. She's actually only at yellow profound grade. One must know that their goddess Tong's profound grade was at mystic profound 9th grade. She was just one step away from breaking through to earth profound grade. But she was defeated by a yellow profound 9th grade cultivator? And she was defeated so easily. How could this be possible? No one could believe that the overbearing and powerful Yiqing Luo was actually just a yellow profound cultivator. Devil class had a total of 60 students and there were about 20 over yellow profound grade cultivators. But these 20 over students were mostly lacking the opportunity to break through. As long as they found that opportunity, they would be able to advance to mystic profound grade. These 20 over students were especially shocked. Same profound grade. How could this freshman actually defeat Tong Ziqing, who was one grade higher than herself? Xiao Jin narrowed his eyes as his fingers rubbed the wooden badge for a while. The profound grade had always been showing the words, Yellow Profound 9th grade. Yellow Profound 9th grade. Xiao Jin's gaze met with Mo Yuing, Yen Xiao Yi and the others. Other than Mo Yuing, who was still expressionless, Xiao Jin and Yen Xiao Yi's eyes flashed with astonishment. Yiqing Luo. I've heard this name before. She's the 7th young mistress of the Yi family who was targeted by the faculty council 2 days after entering the hospital. I remember her. On the day of the ability assessment, she even rejected Master Guo Yu's request to take her as his disciple, saying that she was the Overlord's disciple. The student shifted his gaze from Yiqing Luo's profound grade to her name. At that moment, the class was in an uproar again. These students usually hid their badges in their classes, disguising their identities as devil class students, and came and went freely in the academy. Naturally, he had heard of Yiqing Luo's name and heard some rumors about her. He didn't expect that this delicate and sweet-looking girl in front of him was actually that arrogant, egotistical, and infuriating freshman who had recently become famous in the academy. Yiqing Luo's expression remained calm, as though the person whom everyone was discussing wasn't her. The fact that she wasn't a yellow profound grade 9, but a mystic profound grade 4, naturally wouldn't be exposed. Hence, these students casually guessed that she had defeated Tong Ziqing with her yellow mystic 9th grade cultivation. In actual fact, if it was a one-on-one official competition, Yiqing Luo might not necessarily be able to gain the upper hand against Tong Ziqing. This time, she was merely relying on Tong Ziqing's arrogance and overconfidence. It was only when Tong Ziqing was defenseless that he managed to succeed. Tong Ziqing's profound rank was a solid foundation that she had consolidated. Chapter 276. Xiao Jin narrowed his eyes as he returned the wooden token and badge back to Yiqing Luo. Yellow profound 9th grade. This freshman really had the ability to change the profound grade on the academy's wooden token. Even Long Yunzhan wasn't able to change the profound grade on the academy's wooden token. They could at most seal their own wooden tokens in the enchantment which Long Yunzhan had set up. That enchantment could seal the updated data of their wooden tokens. In the academy's elder quarters and teacher courtyard, all the students in the devil class had their profound grades fixed at the profound grades when they first entered the devil class. Of course, those people in the academy usually couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the changes in devil class's profound grade. He didn't say anything as he walked to the side of the table. That's all for today. Those who want to stay at the training grounds for training, go ahead. Those who want to return to the dormitory, report to the training grounds at 5 p.m. The students who were seated below the stage were used to it as they responded with a loud yes. They then heard Xiao Jin continuing, "Ni Ruo Pan, the morning's training is not completed, continue until it is completed." The students started to hiss as their gazes fell onto Ni Ruo Pan. Following that, they shifted their gazes onto Yiqing Luo. The ridicule in their eyes was obvious. Apparently, they often ridiculed Ni Ruo Pan in this way. Human nature was like this. In the past, these people made the surrounding people use this kind of gaze to treat them. Because of this, when they saw people who were weaker than themselves, they found a little bit of comfort in their hearts. Ni Ruo Pan bit her lower lip as her eyelids drooped down as her pale little face surfaced 2 bundles of red. Her little hands held onto her skirt as she kept rubbing it. Alright, you can all disperse. Xiao Jin clapped his hands and all the students instantly stood up. Yiqing Luo saw this and followed suit as she stood up. She heard the students speaking in unison, "Thank you all for your hard work, we will arrive at the training grounds punctually at 5 p.m. When Xiao Jin walked down from the side of the table, the classroom resumed its previous hustle and bustle. The students all dispersed as though they were liberated, and there were some who formed groups of 2s and 3s as they pointed at Yiqing Luo. Ni Ruopan's hands were placed on the table. Her slender and fair wrists were so skinny that one could faintly see the white bones protruding out. The strands of hair by her cheeks covered half of her face. Yiqing Luo could still tell that her eyes were filled with tears. Still not leaving. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly. To be honest, she had never dealt with such a weak and crybaby before, and she did not like dealing with such a person. However, this little girl's kindness made it impossible for her to ignore her. Ni Rupin turned her head away as she did not want Gu Shizhou to see her crying. He tried his best to sound calm, but there was a hint of sobbing in his voice. "It's okay, I'll leave in a while. She wouldn't dare to walk in front of us. When there's no one left in the classroom, she'll leave." The student in the front row sneered. Ni Rupin lowered her head even more. The student spat disdainfully and left without looking back. "You're always the last one to leave the classroom. Wouldn't Ni Rupin feel lonely facing such a spacious and quiet academy all by herself? Did he have to put himself in such a lowly position?" Yiqing Luo had been walking on a high-class status since young, so she simply couldn't understand this kind of feeling. She frowned and pulled Ni Rupin's wrist with a sullen face. "Let's go to the training ground." Yiqing Luo's strength was extremely strong and Ni Rupin couldn't struggle free at all. "Student Yi." "No. I'll wait a while more." Ni Rupin was forcefully pulled up as she pleaded in a hoarse voice. Chapter 277. Yiqing Luo's forehead was filled with black lines. Damn it. Why did it feel as though she was the one bullying Ni Ruopan? "Student Yi, leave first, don't bother about me. I'll be fine on my own." Ni Ruopan sniffled, but her tears kept flowing down uncontrollably. She swung Yiqing Luo's hand which was holding her, while the other hand wiped her tears. Yiqing Luo's brows creased even tighter. Those students who were intending to leave all stopped as they gathered around to watch the show. "Tell me first, why are you crying?" Yiqing Luo let go of Ni Ruopan's wrist as she frowned as she asked. Ni Ruopan suppressed her sobs as she wiped her tears fiercely. I don't want to cry. Can crying solve the problem? Will your cowardice make those people sympathize with you? Putting yourself in such a lowly position, will you be happy? Yiqing Luo directly interrupted her sobbing words as she bombarded her with questions. Ni Ruopan's hand which was wiping her tears paused as she looked at Yiqing Luo with teary eyes. No. You're not happy. Yiqing Luo replied to her own question, word by word. Following that, she gave a cold snort. "Even if you cry to death here, no one will feel heartache for you. Your cowardice will only allow others to step on your head unscrupulously, and in this way, you won't feel happy. I've said this before, no one is born a waste, unless you position yourself as a waste. Then, what you told me previously, that you want to become as strong as Tong Ziqing, is all bullshit." Ni Ruopan's eyes widened in embarrassment, especially when she heard Yiqing Luo actually set out her extravagant wish in front of all the students. She felt even more ashamed. She even felt that the surrounding students were ridiculing her for overestimating herself. "Look, you don't even dare to admit your own wish." Yiqing Luo scoffed lightly as her eyes were gradually masked with a layer of iciness. "If you continue like this, you can forget about becoming a strong person forever." Yiqing Luo had no interest to continue lecturing a hopeless Ado. Life was chosen by oneself. If Ni Ruo Pan chose to live a waste's life, then she had to pay the same price for her choice. The weak state of mind, no one could change it. Only she herself could walk out of it. Yiqing Luo didn't bother about Ni Ruo Pan and left the classroom directly. Behind him, he could hear the laughter of the students. He could vaguely hear Ni Rupan sobbing. Yiqing Luo didn't turn back. Accepting such ridicule was Ni Ruo Pan's own choice. There was nothing she could do. She had already repaid the kindness that Ni Rupan had shown to her. She still had to rely on herself for the rest of the journey. Yiqing Luo didn't stop as she followed the route she came from and left the devil class. Just as she reached the dormitory entrance, Yiqing Luo's nose twitched and smelled a familiar fragrance. There was someone in the dormitory. Mo Yuing and Lu Xiaoyu were both people who didn't like to use fragrances, and this smell, a figure flashed across his mind. Yiqing Luo immediately pushed open the door, and indeed in the living room, she saw a lady sitting on a soft chair drinking tea. The woman's cold face had a sinister smile in her eyes. Lu Xiaoyu. Lu Xiaoyu, who had just stepped into the dormitory's door, originally had a complacent smile on her face, but the minute she saw that woman, her expression changed immediately. Lu Xiaoyu rushed to Yiqing Luo's side. "Qing Luo, why is she in our dormitory?" The minute she saw Lu Xiaoyu was extremely disgusted. As the vice president, she always abused her position for personal gain. Chapter 278. Lu Xiaoyu put down the teacup and stood up slowly. Her slender figure was exquisite and well-proportioned. Her cold eyes blinked a few times, her red lips curved deeper. "Student Yi, Student Lu, I am your new roommate, in future. Please take care." After the 3 words "new roommate" drilled into her ears, Lu Xiaoyu's expression froze on her face. New roommate. New room. Friend. Lu Xiaoyu was actually their new roommate. This. Could they still live happily in the future? You did it on purpose. Lu Xiaoyu was furious. What a joke, Lu Xiaoyu and Shengguan Luli were not on the same level. If Lu Xiaoyu was her new roommate, she would rather Shengguan Luli stay. At least, Shengguan Luli was easy to bully. This is the arrangement of the academy. Lu Xiaoyu said calmly, her gaze swept past Yiqing Luo. After all, we are not considered strangers, living together, it is good to interact. Bah! Interact. I think you are simply. Lu Xiaoyu had not finished her words, when Yiqing Luo grabbed her wrist. To be personally protected by the faculty council vice president, and to prevent other students from harassing the dormitory, it is my honor. Yiqing Luo smiled indifferently, there was no trace of displeasure on her face. On the contrary, Lu Xiaoyu, after listening to Yiqing Luo's words, her face sunk. Yiqing Luo's words was obviously comparing her to a guard. A guard to protect Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes. Ever since Shengguan Luli was replaced, she had been quite curious about who the new roommate would be. But unfortunately, the new roommate was nowhere to be seen. Yiqing Luo had roughly guessed that this new roommate must be someone from the faculty council. But what she did not expect was that Lu Xiaoyu would personally move into the dormitory, to monitor her at close range. This was indeed. Since the establishment of the faculty council, Yiqing Luo was the only one to enjoy the special honor. Yiqing Luo concealed the deep meaning in her eyes, and stared at Lu Xiaoyu. Noticing that the badge on Lu Xiaoyu's chest had already displayed a intermediate character, a gentle smile appeared on his face. "Xiaoyu, how are you doing in intermediate profound class 2? Earlier when Lu Xiaoyu came back, her face was obviously happy. It could be seen that she was doing well on her first day in class. Thanks to these 2 days of training, I gritted my teeth and completed it with you. The headmaster praised me in front of all the students today. Lu Xiaoyu immediately ignored Lu Shuiyu. She puffed out her chest and smiled proudly. After all, he was still a child. It was a great honor to be praised by the headmaster in front of all the students. It's good that the headmaster likes us. Remember, we are new students. If we can avoid stealing the limelight, we should try our best to avoid it. Lu Xiaoyu nodded vigorously and couldn't stop smiling. What excited me the most was Shengguan Liuli. She was reprimanded by the headmaster. After entering Intermediate Profound Class 2, Shengguan Liuli used her identity as Miss Shengguan to insult Lu Xiaoyu. Before Lu Xiaoyu could retaliate, the headmaster arrived. The rule of the academy was to respect the teachers. Naturally, these teachers had developed a lofty and arrogant personality. In this heavenly academy, no matter what identity you have outside, in their eyes, you are a student. Especially today when the new students entered the class, the headmaster also had to punish the chicken to warn the monkey. He pointed at Shengguan Liuli and scolded her, and reprimanded her results in the ability assessment and the 2 days of training. In front of all the students, he directly questioned whether Shengguan Liuli was like Yi Qingling during the ability assessment, using other things to enhance her own strength. During the freshman training, her true colors were revealed. Chapter 279. Lu Xiaoyu had thought that since Shengguan Liuli had stuffed a lot of gifts into the teacher's hands, she would definitely be ostracized in the Intermediate Profound Class 2. He didn't expect the academy to be so noble. Yiqing Luo saw her delighted look as she laughed lightly. Lu Shuiyu, who had been ignored, saw that the two of them were having a good time and laughed happily. As for herself, after Yiqing Luo's counterattack, she was humiliated and returned to the faculty council, but was punished by Si Yanmu and almost demoted. Lu Shuiyu's heart was burning with rage. Speaking of which, how is student Ye's taste in the devil class? Don't you think that place suits you very well? Lu Shuiyu sneered and said in a strange tone. The sharp and cold voice was extremely ear-piercing. Lu Xiaoyu furrowed her brows and glared at Lu Shuiyu in disgust. Why are you so annoying? The reason why Qing Luo would go to the devil class, you know it better than anyone else. I'm just a vice president. I can't interfere with the decisions of the elder council. Lu Shuiyu gave a light humph as her eyes were filled with ridicule towards Yiqing Luo. Isn't student Yi very powerful? Then go to the elders department and ask the elder to change shifts for you. I'm sure student Yi has the ability to do so. Yiqing Luo's lips curled up into a faint smile as she casually swept a glance at Lu Shuiyu. I'm rather thankful to the academy for allocating me to the devil class. That place is indeed suitable for me. If not for Lu Shuiyu, if not for Elder Yunxiang, she would not have barged into the mysterious devil class. Compared to the high profound class or the class of gods, she would rather stay in the crouching tigers and hidden dragons devil class. Yiqing Luo totally believed that in the future, the devil class would absolutely surpass the class of gods and become the most powerful class in the Heavenly Academy. Lu Shuiyu didn't seem to have expected that she wanted to use the devil class to ridicule Yiqing Luo, but Yiqing Luo totally didn't mind that she was allocated to the devil class. Originally he thought that Yiqing Luo didn't resist going to the devil class, and even spouted out a lot of logic, but it was just to cover up the embarrassment and humiliation of going to the devil class. But at this moment, Yiqing Luo's lips curled upwards, and that touch of confidence in her eyes. Her words were indeed from the bottom of her heart. Lu Shuiyu's cold and elegant face instantly turned ashen as she stared at Yiqing Luo's exquisite jade-like complexion. The vicious glint in her eyes became increasingly piercingly cold. She snorted coldly, flicked her sleeves, turned around, and walked towards her room. Ha ha ha, want to fight with Qing Luo, in your next life. Lu Xiaoyu saw Lu Shuiyu leaving in anger and stuck out her tongue at her back view. Lu Xiaoyu didn't stop laughing until Lu Shuiyu's door was slammed shut. She held on to Yiqing Luo's arm. Are you really not going to ask the elders to switch to the high profound class? Even if it's the intermediate profound class, devil class, that place. It's good there. Yiqing Luo interrupted Lu Xiaoyu's words as her curly long lashes fluttered at an indifferent frequency. I will not mistreat myself, and Teacher Gue, you will go and teach the devil class, so don't worry. Lu Xiaoyu pursed her lips. I heard that Master Gue, you had applied to the elder quarters to be the master of devil class, but was rejected by Elder Yunxiang. Elder Yunxiang again. Why did she feel that this elder had been targeting her? But other than Elder Yunxiang, the other elders probably wouldn't agree to it. Teacher Gue, you wanted to go to the devil class to be a master, but it was very difficult for him to pass the academy's hurdle. Yiqing Luo couldn't understand Teacher Guiyu's status in the academy, but she was very clear that if Teacher Guiyu were to teach the class of gods, it would be more than enough. Such a powerful figure, to let him teach the waste class which even the academy had given up, wouldn't that be wasting God's gift? Chapter 280. Master Guiyu directly went to look for the director. I wonder what the outcome of the negotiation is. Lu Xiaoyu told Yiqing Luo about the news that she had heard. Yiqing Luo recalled Guiyu's gloomy expression when she mentioned the director. He obviously wasn't willing to meet the director. But in order to be a teacher in the devil class, he took the initiative to look for the director. A surge of warmth started to spread in her heart. Yiqing Luo's brows revealed a sliver of gentleness. I know. As soon as she finished speaking, her expression changed slightly, and a familiar smell seemed to seep into her nose. Her eyes flickered slightly as she smiled. All right, take a rest first. I'll treat you to dinner at the canteen tonight. Hearing about treating, Lu Xiaoyu's eyes shone brightly. Then it's decided. Sending Lu Xiaoyu back to her room with her eyes, Yiqing Luo then turned around and walked towards her own room. The minute she entered the room, that elegant sandalwood smell was even more intense. She saw a tall and slender figure lying on that big bed. His jet black long hair flowed down like smoke, as it scattered on the mattress. His purple long robe was like a mysterious mandala flower blooming. His chest intentionally revealed a large portion of his chest muscles, adding an eye-catching demonic charm. On that handsome face, those sparkling peach blossom eyes squinted, faintly bringing out a sliver of electric current feeling. Dmo Xian, why was he here? Yiqing Luo's heart suddenly stopped, as if a hand was pinching her heart. In her mind, the words she said this morning when they parted suddenly surfaced. Dmo Xian, do you like me? The next time we meet, I'll be waiting for your answer. Her cheeks floated two bunches of red. Yiqing Luo thought that after this farewell, they would not meet for a long period of time. After all, that answer, Dmo Xian should not be able to answer her immediately. But, that evening, he came. Had he brought his answer? Yiqing Luo felt nervous for no reason. He just laid there, bewitching peach blossom eyes, smiling as he gazed at Yiqing Luo. She just stood at the door, staring at Dmo Xian without blinking. That pair of eyes was like a deep pool, just one look and one would sink into it. Drip, drip, the sound of water dripping was especially clear in the silent room. When Yiqing Luo regained her senses, she heard the sound of water dripping. Looking in the direction of the voice, he saw a bamboo pole in the corner of the room. A greenish-white academy uniform hung from it, as well as a set of undergarments that were dripping wet. Instantly, Yiqing Luo felt as though she was in a mess. Damn it! Was she dreaming? Or was there something wrong with his eyes? When did she wash her uniform and undergarments? She remembered that after she came back from training, she took a shower. She didn't have the time to wash her clothes, so she soaked them in the wooden bucket. How could it be, washed clean and hung neatly? Yiqing Luo's mouth twitched a few times as she turned her head stiffly to look at Dmo Xian. It's just that you. She could not ask any more questions. He really could not imagine the scene of the high and mighty Di Zun rolling up his sleeves and washing his clothes. It was so beautiful that one could not bear to look at it. Dmo Xian propped himself up as his brows rose slightly, his long and narrow eyes outlined a devilish arc. Why can't I help Lil Luo, or wash her clothes? It was indeed him. Yiqing Luo's eyes widened as it was filled with disbelief. Washing clothes was one thing. But even the undergarments. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.